Ilegua. Come out.
Come out.
Papa Legba.
Papa Legba.
Yeshua.
Eshwa.
Ilegua.
Come out.
Papa Legba. Yeshua. Ilegua. Come out. Cause this is our land. Yes, we was here first. They came here on a boat. They'll leave here in a hearse. They'll leave here through the dirt. They're going through the earth. We're channeling their ancestors to undo their hurt. Cause once upon a time, we all could read and write. That legalese is lies. Strong men spelled cursive ties. Strong men all caps disguise. They gentrified our lives. We've redefined their sights. We've redefined their kind. Yes, this is juju music. This shit here is voodoo music. This shit here is voodoo music. When you chant, they gonna lose it. Yes, this is juju music. This shit here is voodoo music. Yes, this shit is voodoo music. When you chant, they gonna lose. When you chant, they gonna lose. Which ancestor you gon' choose? Play their game, but by our rules. I'm Queen Annie the Maroon. I am Queen of Dongo. I am Queen of Zinga. I am Yenaga. I'm Carlotta and Fernina. Cause this is juju music. This shit here is voodoo music. When you chant, they gonna lose. Which ancestor you gon' choose? Cause this is juju music. This shit here is voodoo music. When you chant, they gonna lose. Which ancestor you gon' choose? Cause I am a goddess. I am a priestess. I chant these mantras and they all repeat it. If we make a promise, this land we gon' seize it. Get vengeance for Mother Earth treason. This for the gentrifiers. This for the gentrifiers. This for the gentrifiers. This for the gentrifiers. Repetition of empires. Invading land with gunfire. Slavery not hostess for hire. Income not what you desire. Outcome working jobs for hours. Mindset waiting to retire. Never stop working for dollars. Cause this is juju music. This shit here is voodoo music. Which ancestor you gon' choose? When you chant, they gonna lose. Cause this is juju music. This shit here is voodoo music. Which ancestor we gon' choose? When we chant, they gonna lose. Ashe, I mean. My spirit guides come in with that sin. My ancestors defend. I got that juice to transcend. Ashe, I mean. My spirit guides come in with that sin. My ancestors defend. I got that juice to transcend. Cause I am a Santi, I am a Sata, I am a host, I am a homie, I am a Tamba. Yes, I am a Tamba. Cause I am a Santi, I am a Sata, I am a host, I am a homie, I am a Tamba. Yes, I am a Tamba. Yes, this is juju music. This shit here is voodoo music. When we chant, they gonna lose. Which ancestor we gon' choose? Hey, choose. Cause when we chant, they gonna lose. Which ancestor we gon' choose?
Mess with the wrong witch, and she knows it. And now you know it.
Peace, y'all. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Welcome to the Planetary Forecast. I'm so happy to be here. And I can't wait to talk plants with you because the plants are doing some dope stuff. And this is the month where we start going back. Well, this is the last month of prograde. We're about to go into retrograde season again. Y'all ready? And so I have some information. Okay, thank you. So I have some information about retrograde season. I have information about the messier objects that we'll be spotting in the sky and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm very excited to be here. So let me go ahead and pull up this presentation. And I can see y'all comments. Peace, y'all. Welcome to the Planetary Forecast. Let's talk planets. And if you guys are catching me on TikTok or Instagram at this point, I think you guys can see my full screen. But if you're catching me on TikTok, you can see the full screen on YouTube at Less Nobodies. I do a full presentation where I talk about the planets. So, first of all, I would like to talk about what is a natal chart. We get into natal charts here because I like it when you guys bring your natal charts with you while you listen to the planetary forecast. Also, for those of you on TikTok, please let me know if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure you guys can hear me all right over there as well. But I like it when you guys bring me your natal charts so that so that you can compare and contrast what the planets are currently doing with your planet um, setup. Also, bring your progressive chart as well so you can compare and contrast where your planets are currently as well. That's also important. So, the whole mindset behind natal charts is kind of like the atomic or the cellular theory, where you are a nucleus, if you will, and you hold all this information, and you have these planets that were surrounding you, creating a certain electromagnetic field when you were born, and you came through. Your birthday starts in, oh, your birthday is in 35 minutes. Oh, that's fly. See, right on time. I love divine alignments. Um, oh wow, 3-5. Get it. 3-5, 8-8. We in the 16s, we in the 7. That's a good day for you. Spiritual downloads. Crazy, I checked, and then 85 was also Tuesday. Oh, happy Mars Day return. Happy Ogun Day return. We love it here. That's what's up. Again on TikTok, let me know if y'all can hear me all right. But yeah, so the natal chart is the concept that you are a nucleus, you are the center, and you have this electromagnetic field around you, and you know that is the electromagnetic field that's made up of the planetary placements around you, and yours is so unique to you. You can study yourself forever and not be done, and that's very exciting, and we love it here. It's a good time. And as we go on, I'll show you how to align your progressive and your natal chart to the transit chart, current chart, etc., etc. So what we do here is we align it with your chakras. We also get into the we're going to start getting into the nakshatras a little bit. But we also get into the Kabbalah, we get into the Netters with it, we get into the ancient Kemetic seasons and other horoscopes, which is the telling of time through the stars in this, but specifically with a chakra is you're an infinite being in physical form. So the chakras are essentially the energy centers that are connected to your physical bodies, whether it's your organs, your organelles, your actual physical body, like your eye and your ears and throat and your hands. And we have a few different, we'll come back to this, but I have this diagram right here that shows the planetary and the chakral connection to your physical body, as well as, you know, to the map as we know it. And then when we come back here, we get into the energetic and the planetary connections to your body and everything as you know it. Now, here we do things a little different. I know we don't go straight by the Kabbalah or the Netaru's verbatim when it comes to the spheres of life and the tarot. What we do here is we align the planets to the zodiacs, to the chakras. So it's a little bit different. Whereas here you would see the moon rule over the sacral chakra. With us, we see the moon and the sun rule over the third eye, the inner and outer self, and we get into the Orisha connection with that. We try to tie in as much as we can, which kind of, you know, twists and turns little things. But when you get into the actual personifications and those stories, it makes it make sense. But yeah, that's what we have here. Excuse my dog snoring in the background. I don't know if y'all can hear him. He going in. But over the root chakra, you have Earth and Saturn ruling over this Earth chakra. Earth is also considered as Jeb. And then you have, you know, Aquarius and Capricorn. Capricorn being the masculine side of the root chakra, Aquarius being the feminine side. Then here we switch it up. We have Jupiter or Obatala actually ruling over the sacral chakra. However, in this space and time, um, in this particular, image, we have the moon ruling over the sacral chakra, and we have Pisces on the feminine side, which is Olukun, which is the season that we're in now. We haven't entered this season on the Vedic chart yet. We're still in the Aquarius or the Shango energy of detachment and stuff in our happenings in our physical space in the Vedic chart. But in the spiritual side of things, yes, we have entered um well, not spiritual, more so in the mindset of things, we have entered the Olukun things, where we are entering a space of really going into our subconscious, tapped into our akashic records, getting those downloads. Also in the space of, being aware of, going with the flow, versus being like gullible, or versus being trying to be in control all the time and being the manipulator all the time, finding a balance between the two and where you stand with the two. Because we are in the month of 3, so that's using the knowledge and the wisdom from the first 2 months and bringing it into a space of understanding as well, which is also a connection to the moon, to the sacral chakra, because saying that the moon rules over the third eye, that is a space of, understanding and etc. etc. So you have that, and then you have the solar plexus, which is ruled by the sun and Mars. In our space, we use the third eye being ruled by the sun and the moon, and Mars being over the solar plexus. And we have Scorpio on the masculine side, because Scorpio does the manipulation and the transformation, and Aries is the fire, the motivation within. On the heart chakra, of course, we have Venus ruling, and the Kabbalah is Leo. Um, and then we have Taurus on the feminine side, which is your heartbeat, your self value, your order of wealth, love of self, others, universal love, friendship love, familial love, all those things. And then Libra is the air energy, how you balancing those scales, how is your heart staying light as a feather as you deal with those realms of prioritization and the order of how you value these things. Then you get into the throat chakra with Mercury, which is expression and communication, how you listen, how you speak, how you teach, how you learn, the ear, nose, and throat area. And then in the third eye, we get into Cancer and Leo. And that's why I say it's the sun and moon ruling over the third eye, because Cancer and Leo is ruled over the sun and the moon. But in this space, they have it ruled by Jupiter, the Neptune, the Jupiter, the Neptune, and the sun. Yeah, whatever. Jupiter, Neptune, and the sun. And so, that's just like a little twist that I do personally with based upon my knowledge and my experience and the things that I do. And it fits perfectly with how I do my readings. So, Sunshine has her own little twisted things. You can do it my way or you can do it this way. I teach both ways. I don't mind. And if you get into the JDL Safe Space Certification Group, you do get personal and group classroom courses with me to teach more in depth the different realms of the chakras with the different religions and spiritual practices, whether by the Kabbalah, Hindu, or Native American with the energy centers. And we also get into the different planes of existence in alignment with how your, chakras go out even further. And we get more into your non-physical or your auric body, which is way bigger than your physical body. As Earth is like a little speck, your body is a little speck as well. The everything else is just so much bigger. Thank you, thank you. I love my way as well. And this is how we get into, and this is also how you can find your earth placement, because I overstand. And a lot of the natal charts, the astrological charts, they don't tell you where your earth is on your charts. So what you do is it's kind of like a north south node type of situation with sun and earth. So you find out what degree and placement your sun is in, and then you look and use that as your 12 o'clock, and you're going to look at your 6 o'clock, and that's where your earth is. Okay, so that's how you go from your sun to your earth. And you can get into your north and south node and make your own like X marks the spot with those 4 points for yourself, because that gives you a nice like connection between your earthly body and your etheric body, and alignment from your comfort zone of your south node and the direction, the energy that you're moving towards, or you're trying to, accomplish with your north node. And then having like a nice foundation between the four is always really dope to have, and we love it here. And so right now, with the sun being in Pisces on the tropical and still in Aquarius on the Vedic, we can infer that that Earth is in the Leo Virgo energy. As we enter more and more into Pisces energy, Earth goes more and more into Virgo energy. And then once we start entering into Aries, Earth will move more into Libra energy. All right. So that's what we have there. And then when the sun is in Earth and Aries, when the sun is in Aries and Earth is in Libra, we'll have the sun and Earth locked in with our north and south node on the transit chart, as well as on the transit chart on the tropical, Vedic, and draconic level. The sun and earth will be locked in, and that'll be really cool when we start entering that space. Yay, we love it here. That'll be a nice opening up, for my spellcasters out there with the Rahu and the Ketu, and we love it there. Like I told you guys, I get into multiple horoscopes, which is just how you use the stars to tell the time. When we get into ancient Kemetic way of doing things, everything was about agriculture and farming. So how did things, how we have 4 seasons and 3 months in each season, and you guys know how much I disdain that now that I know better. Because it kind of like locks us into the year instead of like spiraling and evolving as time goes on. It kind of just keeps like locking us into a cycle with us having 4 seasons rather than 3 seasons of creation with 4 months in each season. So it's kind of giving us a complete foundation each season, but each year we're kind of evolving, and we keep moving into a space of creation rather than that locked in 4 season cycle. But that's just me personally, because I've gotten into numbers and how numbers lock in and release and all those different things. So you let me know in the comments how you guys interpret that thing. But right now, with the 3 seasons of Kemet, we're actually in the season of Shamu, which is the harvest season. As you know, we're coming into space of flowers. If you're in New Jersey, our flowers already started growing and stuff like that, and it's fun here. I have so many different kind of flowers that grow in my backyard, so I get to see all the different colors as they're growing. And I think the people that lived here before, they actually like planted like tulips, and so when I start to see like the leaves of them start to sprout, I already know it's finna get one and popping, and they have been sprouting. So also, when we get into ancient Kemetic calendars, so their calendar was divided, their weeks were divided into decades, which is 10 days. So most of their months would have 30 days or 3 decades worth of days, right? 3 decades, which is 3 weeks for them. So when we get into how they divided the deity's time, they divided it into the decades. So whereas we would have like a whole 30 days devoted to, Aries, Mars, Ogun energy, they would only have like 10 days. So so that's why you see more than one deity energy connected to their month. And I'm about to get into each of their energy as soon as I get into the page that is on. Give me a second. I got you. Where is it? Oh, I found it. Okay. So Osiris is March 1st to March 10th. All right. And that is the energy of a strong leader, being aggressive, selfish, honest, the god of the underworld and resurrection. So you have some detachment and like separation there with yourself amongst other people. And and strong, intelligent, vulnerable, and independent. So learning how to be amongst the collective, that's giving heavy Ogun energy, that Aries energy, that cardinal fire energy. Like, yeah, we know you got the energy to get things done, to do things, but like you got to learn how to be amongst the collective, because after we get through that first decade of Osiris, we get into Isis, and Isis is more about being a part of a team. So, however way you conduct yourself to that Osiris, it will open up the portal to how much you open yourself to the Isis energy. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be mindful of that. So it's like, oh, I have these leadership qualities. I can do these things by myself. I'm very independent. I am resourceful. I can do these things. And this is what I can contribute to a collective, rather than, oh, I can do all these things by myself and I'm by myself and blah, 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 blah. And I'm on my throne and everybody's beneath me, and I'm at a triangle table and I sit at the top. And you know where I'm getting at this. Okay. But Isis is the energy of that's from the 11th to the 31st. So we take the whole month through. And great team player, goddess of nature, honest and straightforward, sociable, romantic, humorous, courageous, and loves learning. So that's what we get into. And then, just give you guys a little cheat sheet, because y'all know I love to do it. April 1st to the 19th, we get into the energy of Thoth. And this is the god of learning and wisdom, wise, energetic, inventive, practical, and wise, motivator, leadership. Again, bring you to the space of how to do things, learn how to do things amongst the collective, and then find leadership in your own space. We're in the year of the nickel, which is the year of 8, and the alchemist horoscope, which is the energy of leadership, impressions. Achievers strive to stand out. So that's when we come into the space of the 8. So if you've been putting that work in, you're gonna get that work out in the figure 8. What you put in is what you get out. We're in the year of conception. So how good you conceive is what you're going to birth in the year of 9, right? So biggest fears of this season are boredom and routine. So be mindful of that. In the West African horoscope, this is the season of family, which goes on to April 4th. Being human oriented, wanting to help everyone around you, establish out solidarity, empathy, and harmony. In Native American horoscope, this is the season of the wolf, and this goes on till March 20th. And I'll tell you guys what's going on at the end of the month, because I know I do these planetary forecasts all the way to the end of the month. But the season of the wolf is the frog clan, which is water, and it's about being quick and elusive, which is kind of like that slippery slope of the fish. Trying to catch a fish, they get a little slippery in your hands. Um, Great at adapting and great willpower, not falling to the influence of others. So again, coming to that gullible versus manipulative fish in the Piscean energy. And wolves are almonds and have great healing powers and great intuition and bring sense to life and death. As far as the year goes, we're in the year of the wood dragon. And this is until January 29th, 2024, which is a good time, because that's when we have Pluto fully establishing itself in Aquarius energy. Um, because we're about to go on retrograde season, so we're about to go back a little bit. But in this space is power, luck, making good use of your environment, have an intuitive sense of timing. So success will not be difficult to obtain. So it's like knowing that you all have everything you need already. You have the resources, you're good enough, you can do anything you want to do right now in your space. And the reason why you have the thoughts that you have in the space that you're having it is because your space is good enough for you to have these thoughts in it. So to say, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that in order to obtain your goals, is to say you don't see this. You're not attracting your thoughts for no reason. You're attracting them to show you the things that you can have right now. So allow yourself to have them. Allow the portal and the gateway between your being and your inner desire to align with your actions and what you're moving your body to do, because that's what's supposed to happen. Far too much, we attach ourselves too much, even if we don't mean to. We attach ourselves too much to the earthly way, and we don't realize how much of a speck the earth side is. So, like your body and your body's routine and your body's way of doing things, these are tools that your spirit is using, but your spirit or your soul or your inner energy, whatever, is not like it's one with the energy. I mean, it's one with your body as far as they work in harmony, but it's not one with your body as far as it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. They're two different things. They have two different sciences energetic science is way different than physical science. That's why you have biology and anatomy and physics. All, they're different. They're all different. They're all sciences, but they're all separate at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And they all apply to you as well. So that's my take on that. You take what that what. So here we get into the root chakra of things, the Muladhara, which is the root of our existence. And on a collective scale, so this is how I have it broken down, guys. For those of you guys who are new to this, at the top, I have all the information about the root chakra. Not all. I'm sure you guys in the chat can add a lot more to this. So feel free to do so. I love it here. But what I have is what I have. So I break down the meaning of the Muladhara, which means the root of existence, the root of your existence. This is ruled by Earth and Saturn. I told you guys, on the where we're at is we're in Virgo, Leo energy. We're in Virgo, Leo energy on the tropical, Vedic, and draconic scale with Earth. So, with our earthly self is on organization, management, listening and teaching and speaking, ear, nose, and throat, invoking things into existence, speaking things into light. That Leo energy is being courageous with it, being confident with it, being creative with it, tapping to our inner child. Now we're coming into the space of springtime, which is about the flowers blooming, which is earth energy, invocation, right? And saying, okay, I planted this seed and this is what should grow. So it shall be. That is the earth being in Virgo, and an earth being in Leo is like that space of beauty, that innocent of the inner child, the fertility, babies and conception and things like that. That's all Leo, that heart chakra, the space of beauty, the third eye chakra of, like, what the sun shines light on, what we choose to experience. So that's where the earth is at. Meanwhile, Saturn rules over the challenges that we experience in our life that assist us in establishing the boundaries and the discipline and the order and the survival of self, and resourceful, excuse me, I can't say the word for a second, how resourceful we allow ourselves to be, right? So while our earth is giving us, that space, Saturn is giving us the challenges in the Piscean energy, which is the stuff you've chosen to believe in. Your gullibility level versus the spaces that you've been manipulating in, spaces of detachment, how you separate yourself from others, and as helping you create groundedness and boundaries and stuff like that you need. I just noticed what banner I got at the bottom of my screen. That is not what I want. There we go. Fix that. In Aquarius, again, that detachment, that social awareness, social justice energy. Saturn is giving us challenges in our social spaces, giving us challenges in the labels that we have given different interactions and different exchanges and our expectations of such. Like, oh, I thought you were supposed to do this, but now I have this new level of awareness and knowledge and stuff like that. So now I know that this is supposed to be that, and it's helping you detach. It's helping, distinguish some beliefs and stuff like that. And the feminine side of our root chakra, this is where our mental awareness is in our different relationships and stuff like that. Like, you are my friend, and in my mindset, a friend, my knowledge of what a friend does is XYZ. And you are this person, and in my mindset, the knowledge of the connection with this person, XYZ. That is Aquarius energy, and you could choose to attach to that, attract to that. What kind of bonds and relationships do you create from that? How detached are you from that? How revolutionary are you in that area of your relationships and your awareness of relationships? Right now, our Venus is there. So our heart chakra is in this space of where we are, attracting and pulsating to that, to where our knowledge of self and our knowledge of unity, what kind of connections and bonds we want with other people, and where we are in the space. Our heart chakra is here to connect with that. So, wherever your heart is, that's why the month of February was so important, of paying attention to what different interactions and spaces and things kept your heart as light as a feather, because now you're attracting. So if you said, oh, I don't deserve this, or I don't deserve that, or I don't like these kind of people, or I don't like this, or you're mad about, if you focus on those kind of things, those are the kind of bonds that you're now attracting in your space. You're getting more exercise in those kind of bonds, etc., etc. You want to be mindful of that. We don't want to fall into that. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then we have space. I'll get into the progressive time later on in this planetary forecast. We'll talk about how Venus transits into Pisces, but by the time we get to the end of this month, which is March 31st, which also happens to be Easter Sunday, um Venus will be in Pisces. All right. And as far as on the Vedic chart, which is in our actual vibration, which is what you see in the parentheses. So while all that's going on in our mindset, the Vedic chart, which is actually happening in our vortex, is Capricorn. These things are, materializing our community. It's third house. Third house deals with communication, community. We're dealing with Gemini energy here. Now you take in that thought and you're building with that thought. You're forming with that thought. Okay, and you're building an underlying structure of the bonds you're creating. So I want y'all to be very mindful where your heart set is when you're trying to manifest your your tribe and the people you deserve to be around. Don't focus on what you don't want. Don't focus on the different bonds that bothered you, etc., etc. You want to focus more on what you want, what you deserve, what you're here to have, what you want to give off. It's important. Now, what you see in the little squiggly, absolute number parentheses, I forget the funny name they call them. That is the draconic placements. Now we get into, so when the Vedic chart is the sun is set to 0 degrees Aries. That is the new beginning for us on the happenings of self, right? Well, what we do here is the moon, and we know the moon deals with your internal self, your spiritual self, etc., etc. So in that space, we set back the moon to the Aries 0 degrees. So this is the space of your soul's experience, your ultimate, what you're ultimately feeling in that inner self of, and so your soul is experience on the transit level above all of us on the draconic level is getting more and more in line with our Vedic chart. Now you'll notice in your natal chart, you'll when you first come here, your tropical is more in tune with your draconic, because when you were a child, you knew why you were here. When you were a child, you knew about your past life, yeah, child, infant, self, toddler self. You get where I'm going with this. You knew what you were supposed to be doing. You knew your past life. You knew what you were experiencing here. You knew things. But as you go through different experiences, this is why it's important to get into your transit chart. As you go through the different experiences, pay attention to the numbers that's around your planetary placement too, the degrees and the latitude, because there's numerology around your placements, asteroids around your placements matter too. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but AstroSeek has increased the amount of asteroids they show over time. They show a crazy amount of asteroids now. So I would definitely tap into that. But and we're going to tap into that today too. But yeah, I'm not going to stay on the root chakra too much longer, but I'm going to catch us up. But see, on the draconic chart, you get into where your soul is connected to. So your over time, you see on your progressive chart how it lines up to how now your Vedic chart, now your actual experiences are starting to line up more with your draconic chart. Now for some of you guys, it's still your tropical. For some of you guys, it's still your thoughts, and it's not happening in your vortex yet. And you might have a lot of retrograde placements, so you might want to check that. But in your as you go on through that time, and your draconic chart has a progressive chart as well. You can check your progressive draconic chart as well. And again, you guys, reach out to me if you want readings on this. I am doing $22 solar plexus chakra readings right now. But yeah, so those little squiggly parentheses, that is the draconic placement. And as you can see, it's more so lined up with the Vedic, which is actually happening. So that is why you're meeting a lot of your soul tribe, whether virtually or in person, because we are that generation of expanding ourselves in communication. We're not just in the physical and communication now. expanded ourselves virtually tremendously to where we could find our soul tribe in different states, in different countries, in different continents, etc., etc. So yeah, more familiar energy. Whether those in Akashic records doesn't just deal with people that you're friendly with, people from your familial and bloodline, they also are reintroducing you to people that you had beef with in your past lives as well, people that you loved and lost in your past lives, people, passerbys, that you just ran into, but now in this time you meet a little bit longer, and just over your lives you just met a little bit longer, a little bit longer, just like little different things like that, and you're like, dang, this energy is so familiar, your face is so familiar, or dang, we had the same thought, or oh, I said I was doing XYZ and now I'm attracting all these people that are doing the same thing as me. Yeah, because you put that energy out, and now that we have expanded ourselves into communication, and just wait until Uranus enters Gemini in 2026, that's going to be a wild time. We're definitely going to expand ourselves and really attract our soul tribe on a whole nother level, because look at how much Uranus has expanded us since it entered in Taurus, especially in our realms of currency and wealth and abundance, and our knowledge of it, and how we are pushing forward with it, and the equal opposite energy that has to expand itself to adequately push itself back on us. I know we complain about the government, the IRS, and oh, we're doing LLCs, so now they're coming up with fencing, and oh, we're doing these different things, and they're coming with the pushback. We're building in the woods, and now they're setting the woods on fire. But think about how they have to expand themselves as well in order to be able to adequately push back. So that puts us more and more into a space of expansion. And that's just a way of looking at it without being emotionally attached to anxiety and fear mongering and stuff like that. It's all a chess game. You know what I'm saying? We gotta step our cookies up. Anyway, you see yourself having more spiritual experiences, more deja vu, and what was the other one? Deja uh deja vu or something like that, where you're having more physical repetitions too, because now you're walking into some of you guys are walking into your ghosts lives. How earth moves in outer space and it has a tail to it. Some of you guys have been coming in so many times that you're re-entering that tail that your last earth left behind. So as you like walk into, and a lot of you guys experience that when you have your when you have your Saturn returns too. You're kind of like walking into back into your ghost of your Aquarius and Capricorn. This is walking back into your earth self, your root chakra. So you find yourself really like vortexing in your tribe and stuff like that. Like I have a lot of Virgo Leo placements between my tropical and Vedic chart. I don't have any Pisces placements though. That's the crazy part. So like, Earth being where it's at, that does a lot for me, and absorbing certain people and certain parts of my vortex. And you can get into your human design as well with this as well, and say like, okay, so we're in, Earth is in Virgo, Leo energy right now. So, what where is, on human design, Earth is at the bottom of that little like Indian crisscross applesauce sitting figure. So you see how full you are in that area, or if you have any openings. So you can see how like the kind of people you need to attract is, zoom in or whatever. And then our sun, our experiences is in Pisces, Aquarius, right? So that's more so mindset, events, experiences, energy exchanges. So you look at where on your human design, or your sun moon placement, or your Leo Cancer placements, and see where you have openings and closings, and how you can zoom in the experiences you want to have. And then you can do the same thing with Jupiter and the joys you want to have, and so on and so forth. It's a whole thing. It's fun. We love it when we can manipulate energies. Anyway, back to the root chakra that we're going to hurry up and get out of. Your Mars is also here. So not only do you have your heart chakra here, you have your solar plexus chakra here on the Mars and on the Pluto side. Both of these planetary placements with the Aries and Scorpius energy is solar plexus energy. So you have your confidence and your courageousness here, your enforcement of your inner maya, your inner law, and how you want to enforce that inner maya into your bonds and contracts that you have with people, places, things, and ideals, and how you're absorbing that in your vortex with the Venus, because your heart is your pump, right? Your heart has a heartbeat, it has a frequency, and how it pumps, and that frequency, it pumps into your veins and your arteries that goes through all parts of your body, and it also creates a frequency with the way your brain pumps, and how that's create pumping into your neurons that also go through the same places as your veins and your arteries. If you look at, that, if you look into the human body systems, and you look at how those two, the body systems, the heart system, and the circulatory system, and the neurological system, how they, look like when they're together, they look alike, and they flow to each other, and they create your frequency, your interconnection with your auric self, your physical self, and your auric self simultaneously, how you pump and stuff like that. So that is Venus, and that's, enforcing your maya. So again, that comes back to how, the month of two, which is February, was all about keeping your heart as light as a feather, and paying attention to what things made your heart heavier, and what might have made your heart even lighter than a feather, or what made your heart as light as, because those are the things that you want to pump into this space. Those are the things you want to pump into this Aquarius placement, especially as a collective. A lot of you guys want to connect to your soul tribe. I see a lot of people posting about how they want to, go into the woods with their friends, and, find their people that want to do the things they want to do and stuff like that. So if you really want to connect to that, if you want to attach to that, you have to have a certain level of detachment from the reality you're accustomed to as well. So now we get into the sacral chakra. So sacral chakra is ruled by Jupiter, with its Obatala energy, a space of joy and pleasure seeking and sensuality, sexuality, creativity, and generosity, and things of that nature. So Obatala on the tropical, which is the mindset, is still in Taurus energy. And so this energy is being in a space of our heart chakra. We're finding joy in how our heart is pumping, what we find value in, what we prioritize, what we find beauty and things of those nature. And that's what we're expanding ourselves on. That's what we're getting more downloads from about. Now on the Vedic chart of what's happening, as well as, our spiritual experiences, we're having new beginnings here in this space, right? You guys are having new beginnings of what, you valued, what was a priority, the kind of relationship you wanted. A lot of you guys are having like expanded ideals with your partner you have now, or some of you guys may have had to separate, part ways with your partner, because you guys have expanded in different directions. um Either way is cool. It's still in alignment, and what's happening is new beginnings in your space. And Aries is a very, extreme energy. It doesn't, expand or give you new beginnings in a quiet, polite way. It's fire. Fire burns and it scorches, but it leaves way. That's, how the seasons go in certain parts of the world. You have firestorms, so that new pretty things that smell good can grow from it. That's what happens. But the whole process of fire burning things is not it's not always fun. And then you have it in the sixth house. So the sixth house is that mercurial house. That's the Virgo house. We're analyzing the new beginnings. We're paying attention to them. You can fall into overthinking and over analyzing, and depress yourself in this realm on the spiritual and Vedic side. Be careful of that. Just flow through these expansions and find joy in them. That's where your mindset needs to be with that Jupiter and Taurus. That's the key to that. When you find yourself in a space of overthinking or overanalyzing to depress yourself and really feel that fire, just bring yourself back into that space of joy and beauty in it. I enjoyed what I experienced. It's okay if I just smelled the flowers and couldn't pick it and put it in my pocket. You know what I mean? Not all plants are meant to take home. On the internal side of your sacral chakra, you have Pisces there. This is when we deal with the actual Maya, law, justice, and truth. You know, um, this is the fourth sphere on the tree of life. the celestial government, the divine blueprint that you will be enforcing when we get up to your solar plexus chakra. When we get into the Kabbalah, the tree of life, it's this actually deals with the throat chakra, the Piscean energy in your Maya, which you do expel to others, to invoke and things. And this is also how you give mercy. Maya is how you do give mercy, because the eye for an eye is not necessarily even scale. You want to keep your heart as light as a feather, regardless of the experiences, not so much as my heart is going to be equal to your heart. That's not the balancing beam. And that's what we love to do. We love to, oh, I'm a reflector, I'm a reflection, I'm gonna reflect your energy back to you. And we like to do that in positive and negative, not realizing that, again, in alignment with Pisces and Olokun, where that can also be manipulative. Oh, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. If you're nice to me in these ways, I'll be nice to you in these ways. That's manipulative, because that's not you at your natural state. The goal is not to be the fish that's swimming above or below. The goal is to be the line in the middle. That's why the Pisces sign has the line going up and the line coming down, and the line in the middle. The line in the middle is the goal. You have to be the homeostasis. You're not here to reflect or project anybody's reflection and mirror their energy, whether it's positive or negative, loving or detached. You're not here to do that. That's not what you're here to do. You're here to be the homeostasis in the middle. Keep your heart as light as a feather. And that's my take on that. So now in the and that's also in alignment with Mercury being in the throat chakra as well, because Mercury deals with moral and ethical code, which is that connection to Olokun being the feminine side of the throat chakra. It is a challenge, because in your experiences, you want to measure, you want your heart to equal their heart. Oh, you're doing me like this, well, I'm gonna do like that. And this is to find boundaries and a balance between having boundaries versus uh reflecting or projecting someone's energy, not keeping your personal scale where it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with the Libra scales, because Pisces scales and Libra scales, two different scales, but should be the same, one in the same scale. Now, when you're dealing with the Oba scale, it's like, oh, I want reciprocation, and you do. You want evenness, and that's what you want to attract. That's why the Oba or the Libra scales is ruled by Venus, your heart chakra, because that's what you want, and the heart, you're pumping those relationships that you want, and that's why it's important when you connect your mind and heart together, or your mind and desire, because they say the moon also rules the sacral chakra as well, and the sun rules over the heart chakra, which is your third eye. So you say things with those three parts of self, right? Fire and desire. Anyway, when you do that, when you're in high emotional moments, you have to be mindful of what you say and what you attract. That's why it's important not to focus on those relationships where the reciprocation is lacking, and just say, be honest. You knew that that person was incapable of returning that energy you was given to begin with anyway. You know what I'm saying? So if you knew that and you gave them that energy anyway, it was because you wanted to give it to them, because you knew that they needed it. So when you don't receive that reciprocation in return, you don't have to make that a spiritual I told you so, to where you're, being sour about it. Just say, I gave you what you needed to have. I put that vibration out there. Now, instead of focusing on, oh, this person didn't pay me back, or this person didn't say, hey, I want relationships where I get monetary reciprocation. I want relationships where I get monetary support. I want relationships where I get more support in my root chakra with resources, because maybe it's not monetary. Maybe it's I need a certain resource met. So I want to meet and attract people that can help me get this resource. You know what I mean? So learn how to receive elsewhere. It's not so much about you not receiving from that particular person, place, or thing. And that is where you learn to balance that Libra scale and that Mayat scale. being aware of those things. And our sun is giving those experiences in our thought process. So kudos to y'all for being present in this moment, in this dialogue and energy exchange. And may it create that balance and that boundary that you need in between. And in your experiences, as well as on the draconic scale, with that sun being still being in Aquarius, and we will stay in Aquarius until what is that? April like 17th, 16th, 17th. We'll stay in Aquarius on the Vedic and draconic scale. Um but while we're still in the space, while you're having those experiences in your thoughts and your experiences, we're having, more revolutionary aha moments in our bonds and contracts. Like that moment right there. I want to receive elsewhere. I want different kind of bonds. I want different kind of relationships. I don't need to focus on these relationships right now. And then it's also being aware that this person is giving you what they're capable of giving you, and they're incapable of giving you that expectation. So give them grace. You know what? Even though you couldn't give me this thing, I see that you give me this over here. And you don't have to say that's good enough. If that's not, you don't even have to go there. You can just say, this is what I notice. And I like that. And I appreciate that. Thank you. And then still in that same breath say, I want to cultivate da, da, da. And it's not to take away from that relationship. When we learn how to be more positive and start looking at the things that we are great, like you may not have been able to pay me back, but I know whenever I need emotional support, I can call you, to get me a good laugh when I'm feeling down, or we do have good outings together. Even though I know you couldn't reciprocate my business ventures with me, um I know you're still the friend that I can come and watch movies with. you know I can still have these peace, welcome, welcome. I can still have these kind of experiences with, even though, you guys get where I'm going with this. And it doesn't always have to be like focusing on that, what I'm not getting. You don't even have to focus on even though. You can just say, I like the fact that I'm getting this from this relationship. And I do get to call you and get that from that relationship, and etc. etc. Yes. Happy, oh yeah. 12/11. Happy solar return, Amanda. Gang gang. Woo. Happy birthday, girl. Brr, 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 brr. I gotta get the buttons with the things. But yeah, so we're we're having those revolutionary mindsets about our bonds in these realms and our relationships, and we want more social justice, for certain people in certain situations and things like that. And we're doing it in the fourth house. So this is starting in the home and family. It's starting in your intuitive space, your nurturing, how you want to nurture other people. I feel like people should have, more spaces of fellowship. I feel like people should have spaces where we come together and we do more rituals, group rituals coming into play, classroom settings and courses. A lot of our spiritual leaders are coming out with their courses again, and this is a lot to do with that Aquarian fourth house. This is if they check their moon placements and their fourth house placements, um they will probably see in those spaces that nurturing is in their space of teaching or creating those. That's how they create a safe space where they're teaching or reopening their services again, whatever their specialty may be, whether it be in the herbal realm, the alchemist realm, the ritual realm, whatever. You get where I'm going with this. As far as Mercury goes, invocation is here. The throat chakra is here in Pisces. We're speaking Maya. I've been watching a lot of different interviews, especially on Do the Knowledge Radio, and a lot of people are saying the word. They're even saying Maya, 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 Maya. It's even becoming a mantra to a lot of people's throat chakras, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Let us, keep saying, the ideals. And at the end of this, I will go over the ideals of Maya with y'all. So, whatever. But yeah, we're invoking this. We're walking into our throat chakra with this. We're teaching it. We're speaking it. We're listening to it. We're learning it. We want to move in it. This is becoming our truth. This is how we want to create justice. And then, Mercury is also on the Vedic and Draconic scale, still sitting in Aquarian energy. So those are how we're building our bonds. where are you? Because we're at a spectrum. You can know the ideals on my yacht and still say, okay, I'm at a spectrum with this on here, and I'm at a spectrum with this on here. Yeah, I love animals, but I'm still gonna eat them hoes. And yeah, I do da da da. Whereas some people say, oh, I love animals, I'm not gonna eat them, I'm not gonna do any of this, and da da da. So it's still a spectrum. So it's just like, where are you at on the spectrums on each of these mayats? And that's how you're going to really pinpoint down your tribe and where you're at. And you're going to attract those people in your vortex. You're going to have these solar experiences with these people, that solar experience still sitting in Aquarius, and you're going to have awareness in this. It's going to give you those aha moments and stuff that you need. And then as you know, the draconic and the Vedic enter in that Piscean energy, you're going to have that space where it's like, okay, what do I believe? Where am I at with it? What kind of flow do I want to flow into, etc., etc., while the sun is in your thoughts having those new beginnings. You know what I mean? Like, oh, now your son's having the new beginnings in thought. Now it's like, oh, I want to do this different. I want to do that. And you're enforcing it. I don't like those kind of relationships anymore. I want these kind of relationships. I got to experience these kind of energies that I married. I see a lot of you guys falling into the space of going on fast and things like that. So now you're attracting other people, places, and things, whether it's in the virtual world or in the physical world. Other people going into the realms of fasting or changing their diet or changing their health in some type of way, shape, or form. And so now you're having more of those bonds to where you're saying, okay, these kind of bonds and ideals and behaviors and stuff over here that I was doing prior to this, I don't want to go back to that, And kudos to y'all for doing it. I look forward to walking into Ramadan and having my, Sun, Mercury, Pisces, and Aquarian, Aries experience. It's going to be a great time here. Saturn is also sitting here with these folks, and we're going to get into the alignment of these planets too, because we are going to have a space and time where all of these placements are going to align along the celestial equator. And for all my spellcasters and my stargazers, you guys are going to be able to see it. It's going to be great. And so Saturn is also here. Saturn rules over the solar, the root chakra. So now we have our third eye chakra, our throat chakra, and our root chakra. These three chakras in alignment in our sacral chakra. Giving us the experiences, the invocation, and the challenges. So you think you're just going to speak your Maya into existence and the equal opposite energy isn't going to come to you? You think you're going to defy physics? You think you're going to defy universal law like that? You're not. What's going to happen is you're going to get the challenges you need. You're going to say, hey, I want to own land. And you're going to get the challenge like, oh, you want to own land? Okay, let's see how bad you want this. So I'm going to show you all the different obstacles that you got to go through. And that's going to help build your muscle, because Saturn rules over Capricorn. That's not just bone, that's muscle. That's your infrastructure that holds you up to get you going, right? So you got to build that up when you speak something into existence. Okay, I want to be a master at this, or I want to teach this kind of course, or I want to have this kind of organization, or I want to make this kind of business move, or I want to establish this level of healing. I want to have these level of connections. Okay, we're going to challenge you. Is you going to go back to these kind of relationships? Because if you go back to those, the universe ain't going to bless you with these new joints. Or are you going to go back to this mindset? Or are you going to go back to these habits? Because if you do, it's going to block your blessing, because now you're fucking your money up, because now you're spending your money back on these old habits, or now you're spending your time back on these old habits, and it's blocking you from moving into these new spaces. And you said you wanted these new experiences. What you going to do? So that's what Saturn is here to do for you, to give you those challenges and those things that you need in your space to see, okay, this is really what I want, or this isn't what I want. Then you have the fortune there too. So when you overcome these things, and then I love that the fortune is at 0 degrees. So it's like new bang ass new beginnings on March 31st with that Easter energy, like straight, like spring is sprung, right? Happy Ishtar and Nana Day. We out here. And, fortune is like X marks the spot. This is the cross point between the sun and the moon. And so the fortune is there, and Pisces energy too. If you can balance these chakras within the sacral chakra, find joy in these spaces, find joy in the challenges that you need that are going to help you create the boundaries. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you want to create boundaries with anger in your heart, cool. But just let you know that's creating a callus. And I told y'all all February, keep your heart as light as a feather. And that's what my yacht is all about. you have to have your heart as light as a feather to find joy in these things. You know what I'm saying? You have to have your heart light as a feather when you experiencing these challenges. You gotta find the joy in the challenges. Like, oh, I'm glad. Like, here we go. I'm about to put on my boxing gloves. Start smiling like I trained for this. I said I wanted this. I'm about to box all this shit out. I'm finna win. Da da da. Have your little inside jokes, whatever, whatever. Have your little cancel out jokes when that self doubt start to creep in, because you know that first quarter, last quarter moon get real crazy. So that's when the doubt start to creep in, like, where is my return? And it's like, bro, get a second. Like, the bigger your manifestation is, the more moon phases it takes to get to it. So give yourself grace in those spaces, you know. But once you find yourself doing it, you know, the fortune is going to come. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, that's this divine alignment here. And the fourth house is here too. So this is your intuitive space. Your third eye is telling you these things. We love it here. It's a great time. The second house is over there in Sagittarius. So, you know, the second house deals with wealth and value. That's that Taurus house. You know, your creative space, your emotional space, the beauty and things. And that's happening in the wisdom and the power of knowing and manifesting and really tapping into, you know, your third eye chakra in these spaces and allowing the oracle and the sage to guide you. This is allowing that inner fire, that desire, which is your internal self, to really align with your body and stop saying that they're one thing. You are a ghost in a shell. Your physical body is a tool that you have, and you get caught up in the mundane. You allow your physical body and the physical indoctrinations to train your inner self to submit. And that's why your inner self is unhappy and it gets depressed and it knows something is wrong and it's yearning for more and it's yearning for different and it's yearning for the new beginning. You, during this space and time with that second house in Sagittarius, listen to that, manifest it, know that you deserve it. It's not a far out thought to have, because if it was far out, you wouldn't have it, and so many other people alike you wouldn't be having it. Now it's just learning how to be very specific, really honing on your energy. And you know what I use as an example, you know, X-Men, when they have the Cyclops, and before he got the glasses, his eyes was just shooting out everywhere. And that sometimes that's how we get with our desire, right? Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to teach this, I want to teach that, I want to have this, I want to have that, blah 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 blah. And we know you can shoot all that shit out, we know, but you're way more effective with them glasses on and you're focusing on what you want to shoot. You know what I'm saying? So you can have periods of time where you got the glasses off and you like, fuck this, I'm gonna shoot everything out, because sometimes you do need to do that. But wear the glasses too. You know what I'm saying? And that will help you really gravitate to the different bits and pieces that you need to gravitate to. Because sometimes you're attracting people that are great, but they're not giving you what you need. And that's because you're not being specific about what you're trying to attract. You're all over the place with what you want to do with your personal energy, so you're not leaving room for those people who could fit in those spaces, you know, bring you what you need. Because you're like, oh, I can fill in all my spots. Okay, well, if you fill in all your spots, you're not leaving room for those people that could fill in those spots and then bring you the other stuff that you're saying that, oh my God, you know what I mean? Don't block those people out. Chapter 39 is a good number. That's such a great number. We love it there. Moving into a space of 12, 1 and 2s. Staying on your 1 and 2s, knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom is very important because 1 and 2 come together makes 3, which is understanding. It's a great place of creation, being tapped into your emotional self. Your sensitivities may be on 1,000 this year, especially when we're in the year of 8. But learning how to be that homeostasis in the middle, ground yourself, is very important. That is the goal here. And then you enter that 4-0, you know, being grounded in your space because you've conquered this 3-9. We love it. We love it. We love it. So now in the solar plexus chakra, that is ruled by Mars. That is the getting things going. That's the wands card for yourself. This is the fire. This is the gut. And you know the gut controls the mind and gets the mind going. And that's why you see the connection between the water and the fire, Scorpio, Aries, Cancer, Leo. And also the sacral chakra with the Sagittarius, Pisces. Those 3 chakras support each other heavily there. And so, with Mars being in tropical, so your thought process on your solar plexus is on bonds and your social like I want these relationships. I'm motivated by these kind of relationships that I want. I'm motivated by the social justice and the revolutionary energy I want in my social connectivity, my unique way of doing things. You're being motivated to do those things in this space and time. And that's really fun here, stand in your uniqueness. I know, some people fall into that. Oh, I want to see how other people are doing it and I want to watch other. Don't do that. You know how you want to do things. Now, you want to go to other people for learning and to perfect your craft, go ahead. But once you do that, see how I started in the beginning? I told you, I studied the Kabbalah, I studied the Netarus, I studied ancient Kemetic, I studied Native American, I've studied West African, I've studied Hoodoo, I've studied Voodoo, I've studied the Orishas, I've studied all these things. And with me studying these things, I've come up with my own formula. Sunshine got her own way of doing things. Now, I could teach you all these other ways, and I will when you join that safe space group. I could teach you all these other ways, and I can also teach you my way. And then you come up with your own way out of that. That's the goal. You are a fingerprint. You stand in your unique self with how you present the knowledge that's been given to you, because that's how you do it. And that's how you attract the people that you're supposed to attract. So, in your thought process, we're moving in that, right? And then and the Vedic, your actual happenings, as well as the Draconic, which is your soul experience. As you can see, they're lined up. They're a few degrees apart. So you get into the numerology of that. You got 9 on your experiences, so you're giving birth here. And then you have 7 on your Draconic, so you're having spiritual experiences there. So, but in your Mars is in a space of forming. So as you're having these thoughts on what you're motivated towards, again, this is reminding you right now your heart and your mind are in alignment with materializing things you want. So some of you guys are experiencing, like, again, Mars deals with fire. So fire don't always feel good with the new beginnings. But some of you guys are feeling that heavy new beginning fire. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. It feel like punches, but that's also that Saturn. How are you going to accept those challenges? We want to accept them with our heart as light as a feather, Ashe. So you're going to want to be mindful of how you accepting those challenges in your space. Um, Now here in this space, what you're motivated towards is forming, is materializing, it's a goal. You're creating the structure, you're creating the underlying structure to it with that Mars and Capricorn. So again, when your mind is in a certain space, you gotta give yourself grace, mindfulness, especially when you're upset about something. Instead of focusing on that, oh, you pissed me off because wow. I want you to focus on the bonds that you want to have, the bonds that you deserve. I deserve to have this kind of space. I deserve to have this kind of reciprocation. I deserve to have this level of acknowledgement and appreciation. Speak those things into existence. Sometimes you could say that into the air, to the universe. You could say that to the person that you feel like you need to direct that to. Keep your heart as light as a feather when you direct it. You're not here to match energy and reflect and project and all that. That the Oba scales and the Libra scales is two different scales. I mean, the Oba scales and the Maya scales are two different scales, and they measure two different things. People definitely need to join this. Yes, people definitely need to. Let me see. Put that on the motherfucking screen. People definitely need to join in on the safe space. When you join in on the safe space, you get these cleanses and you also get courses from myself. And I am expanding in my courses in the safe space, and it's going to be a great time. So I highly suggest. And we are opening up enrollment. So if y'all want to learn these things, join the safe space. So that's what's happening overall on the solar plexus chakra. Now, y'all focus on where your Mars is, so I'll give you a 1-2. My Mars is in Gemini, right? On my tropical chart, my Mars is in Gemini. So with my Mars in Gemini, I have air and air with the transit Mars in Aquarius. So it's, a whirlwind. I could move myself, and I do feel myself doing that sometimes, like, interrupting my sentences or trying to do three, four different things at one time. My mantra during the season has really been one thing at a time. Give yourself grace, one thing at a time. Because I will admit, initially when Mars first entered Aquarius, I was souped up in it. I was trying to do 20 different things at one time, and I was overwhelming myself, burning myself out, but coming back into it. And then it's funny because the transit chart is in the third house, which is in Gemini house. So it's just like, really like whirlwind, wanting to do bunch of things, know a bunch of things, learn a bunch. I wanted to read like three, four books at the same time. I'm telling you, like, my energies just wanted to, like, I wish I could hold this book, and this book, and just go through them. Like, that's where I've been at. So that's just like a personal, example. So you find out where Mars is. Like, if your Mars is in fire on the tropical chart, your fire may be ignited even bigger. So you want to be careful with that, because we're in the year of 8, high highs and low lows. Also, 8 deals with the Scorpius energy. So if you're engaging that high with that Aries, Olun, Mars energy, them low lows is going to come with that Scorpius transformation. That equal opposite energy comes back. So you want to be mindful. So you want to, find some water or some earth in your chart and ground that fire, and remind yourself that, like, I know you want to blow up and stuff right now, but like, we're in a space of like moderation is key. You know what I'm saying? So we want to be moderate in our space. We want to be the line in the middle, if you will, because your fire can burn a lot of people around you. Then if your Mars is in water on the tropical chart, that air with the water, it can create hurricanes if you allow it to do so. It could also create waves in you or whatever. It can manipulate you. So a lot of intrusive thoughts come into my Mars and water signs. Some of them good, some of them useful and resourceful, some of them can be depressive, some of them can be doubtful. You pick and choose which ones you want to hold on to, because water is memory. You pick and choose which ones you want to do, and which ones are helpful to you, and which ones you want to enforce, because Mars is about enforcing. All right. And then for my Mars and Earth energies, while this is an air, oh, you don't gotta be so stubborn. Allow some thoughts to come to you. Open yourself up to some of these folks or events and situations that come in to expand your thought process and give you evolutionary, motivations and new ways of doing things. You can be very closed into, oh, I want to do it this way and I'm motivated, but let the air open you up. It's giving you thoughts for a reason. Let it push you a little bit. Your Mars is in Cancer on the 13th degree. So yeah, be mindful of your thoughts. So like on the Vedic or Vedic and Draconic scale, your Mars is in what's before Cancer? Gemini. So in that space, you with the Vedic and Draconic and Capricorn, that's providing earth to your air, and then this is providing air to your water on your thoughts, so it can create waves or whatever. Now on your experiences where you would be naturally creating the air and moving in different ways and being active, you can tap into the transit Capricorn earth and materialize what materialize what that connection between intellect of the transit Aquarius with your intuitive Cancer. Again, that depends on what thoughts you are allowing yourself to gravitate to and want to mirror and hold on to your memory. That's what you're then going to project into this transit earth. You know what I'm saying? And then also put in your boundaries. Also put in your resources and how you obtain your resources and things like that. Um, so you pay attention to it that way. And then with your Mars, you're motivated for safe spaces and nurturing spaces and things like that. Teaching is good for you. Counseling is also good for you, but more so counseling in a teacher type of way because of that Cancer Gemini connection. Gemini is all about teaching and learning and communication, and then Cancer is, I want to hug you and hold you. So you want more of like that that counseling type teacher, like a preacher, like the Sabbath things. And if y'all not already following King Adonis, can you put in the chat what your YouTube page is, or where they can find your Sabbath services, if you're not doing them currently, where you have them recorded? Because if you guys aren't following that page, you guys should definitely do so. Tap into him, because that is definitely him sitting in his Mars with that Cancer Gemini energy. That's perfect for you. And then now in the space with the transit, you'll find yourself gravitating to the thoughts, gravitating yourself to the relationships, and materializing what you need to materialize with them. So if there are different like resources and things you want to put in your root chakra, this is a beautiful time to gravitate to your tribe or your people that you would like to place into your root chakra to assist you to do that. Now, in the feminine side of Aries, we have that fire in your gut that motivates you. Of course, our North Node is still here. Now, on the Vedic, which is what our actual happenings, is actually still in Pisces, Virgo, the North and South Node. So we're moving towards, you know, that space of belief and spirituality and magic and our Akashic records and repeating spiritual energy and Maya and keeping our heart as light as a feather. And we're enforcing that in our solar plexus chakra, right? That's what we're moving towards. And we have in our back pocket of experiences, spaces where we had to listen and teach and speak and learn our education, our upbringing, and how we've interpreted those different things and the crossroads of our different sources of knowledge and stuff like that. Now in our thoughts, we're moving from the Libra scales of our bonds, contracts, interpersonal relationships, our heart chakra love scale, um our Libra scales, and what I was just talking to you guys about earlier about reflecting and projecting each other's energy and keeping your heart as light as a feather versus, the reciprocation, and how those are two different scales. And so that's what's going on in our thoughts, having new beginnings in those things. Thank you, Tim. Having new beginnings in those things. If you guys aren't following that page, I highly suggest you guys do so. And then we're moving, towards new beginnings in those space and being courageous, and now knowing that our Libra skills, where we are balancing the scales between the reciprocation of our relationship, is not the same scale as keeping our heart light as a feather. So I'm not here to reciprocate or mirror or reflect or project your dusty energy or to be your karma or to find vengeance. If you look at the past, if you look at our bloodlines, right? Our bloodlines were very focused on, oh, how we got to get familial vengeance. Our families don't mess with each other. Our tribes don't mess with each other. Our countries don't mess with each other. Our cultures don't mess with each other. Our this or that don't mess with each other, right? But us, our generation, we're a connection, intermingling of so many cultures, so many lineages, so many families, so many bloodlines, that we claim them all and can righteously do so. We are these infinite beings. We do touch all four corners of the square map as they've created it to be for us, and we go beyond those. And that's why we talk about beyond the ice wall and more firmament coming and more earth coming. And that's why the ice walls are melting, because our thought process and that ice wall we created around our thought process is melting. More DNA strands are opening up to us. So astronomy is not a study that you participate in for this. Oh, well, I do study astronomy as well, which is what I will get into on the second half of this. I get into the astrology and the religious part, the spiritual part, and that's what I get into on the first half. And then in the second half, for my star watchers and my astronomers, I get into where the stars will actually be, especially, so that you guys will know. So yes, I do both, especially during the month of April. I teach you guys about the degrees and using your hand and all that stuff like that. So that's what I do. And I'm glad that you feel, entertained by that. If you know something that I don't, you're more than welcome to, join in and provide knowledge, or you can sit back and watch. Astronomy aligns with the Vedic aspects. Exactly. That's when we get into the actual constellation. And when you get into the nakshatras, that's when you get into the actual stars of things. So, yeah, back into Aries. Chiron is an asteroid, astronomically speaking. And when you get into the zodiacs, which is the lines that we created, which are the tropical lines in our thought process, because this is what we thought up and this is what we educate people on. So this is our thoughtfulness. It is an Aries on our thoughts. Now, in the Vedic, which is the actual constellations in our experience, this is the tie between astronomy and astrology. We have the actual happenings. So Chiron is still in Pisces. So our wounds is still in the space of what we have been believing in, right? Um, which is why our North Node is moving into new beginnings, and that Pisces connection between the tropical and Vedic chart or whatever. But our Chiron is in what we have been believing, what we've been gullible under, whether it's the government, contracts, the corporate government, private government, spirituality, history, public education, the different, government departments on whatever, scale they're on. They all have been, magicians in the Piscean energy. They all have been manipulators in the Piscean energy in some type of way, shape, or form, and they have created generational and bloodline wounds within us. Whether you're talking about our grandmothers or great grandmothers that were forced into the education system, and their parents that were jailed if they weren't inserted, or the generations before that wanted equality in spaces, or just to have their educational spaces left alone, but they were being burnt down. And to being present and realizing the connection between the education system and the jail system, or the warehouse, setup, and the employee setup, and being mentally indoctrinated. That's where a lot of our Chiron comes. But Chiron is turning all those wounds into which are seen as weaknesses or quote unquote traumas. Y'all know I don't like that word here. We use challenges here, and we transmute them into strengths. So now we're finding new beginnings. We're learning how to, flip that one too. Like, okay, we learned these things and now we're applying it in this different way. And we want to do these different things, and we're ending these generational curses and cultural curses and bloodline curses, and different things. You get where I'm going with this. And this is all in the fifth house. So a lot of you guys are tapping back into your inner child with this. When you guys were kids and you guys were learning some of this stuff in school, you guys were like, why, how? That doesn't make any sense. If I was president, I would do. That's what we're tapping back into. So for a lot of people, this way of talking, this mindset, this transform, because again, we're talking about Pisces and Aries between the tropical and the Vedic chart, with the North and South node, as well as the Chiron placement, right? So, a lot of this jargon is triggering for people, because we're opening their Chiron, we're opening a wound that they have, you know what I'm saying? And the things that they have been taught to believe in. And so, for some people react differently when their wounds are being opened. Some people are curious about it and they pick at their scabs and they're like, oh, it's bleeding and da da da. They get the curiosity. But some people get triggered and it hurts and they yell and they cover their wound and they hide, or they attack because they're afraid of what you're going to do once you see that wound. You might be a shark. You know what I mean? So we give grace to however anybody wants to react to us walking into this North Node energy as a community, and understand that as we walk into this North Node, as since we were a child, we have been triggering folks Chiron, that fifth house. I know, like, a lot of different people, when you tap back into your inner child energy, it brings you back into that space of um the different tactics that adults used into your space to get you to, stay in a child's place, a child's, table, adult conversation, things you weren't allowed to say, what's talking back. You weren't allowed to explain yourself. You weren't allowed to defend yourself. You weren't allowed to say how different certain things didn't make sense, or you didn't agree with certain things, stuff like that. So, all of that is invoking people's Chiron, and where their Chiron placement is brought up in their tropical and their upbringing and their experiences, as well as in their draconic chart. So for those of you guys that are tapped into the collective space, you got to overstand as you walk into your inner child that always asks those whys and whats and how comes, or has your own way of doing things. That's what you're invoking in other people. Now, when we started this month with the moon in Scorpio, so we had our intuitive space, our nurturing space, our feminine, maternal space, experiencing the transformations, and also moving into our solar plexus chakra with enforcing a certain kind of law and order and being fearless about it. You know what I mean? So some of you guys downloads might have been very like transformational, very like, do this, might dropped a few F bombs on you, probably was a little aggressive, assertive, but it really wanted you to enforce and say, all right, I'll listen. All right, I'll do this. All right, I'll do that. By the end of the month, the moon will also be at 0 degrees Aries. And what else did I say? The North Node will be at 0 degrees Aries on the draconic chart. The moon will be at 0 degrees Aries on what is that? That is also the draconic chart. So we have the moon and the North Node in divine alignment on Easter, and we have fortune in divine alignment. So for my spellcasters out there, and my energy absorbers, for those of you guys who like to connect, this goes by midnight. So midnight on March 31st, which is Easter Sunday, you'll have that connection with 0 degrees Aries, the fortune on the tropical. So absorb your fortune in your thought. And on your soul experience, the draconic, you'll have the moon here in the first house, which is your overall temperament and connection with the universe. And then the North Node on the fourth house, which brings you back to the moon, because the fourth house is, ruled by the moon. So that's a really nice triangle square situation. That's that's really fly. But yeah, so by the end of the month, we'll have the moon in Sagittarius energy. So your moon will bring you to a space of expansion on your thought process while you guys are doing that, having those downloads and casting those spells. Now we are in the heart chakra. So for the heart chakra is ruled by Venus. Venus is about love, wealth, wisdom. We talked about how the heart, it pumps through the veins and the arteries. That brings your love. That controls your frequency, how you're pumping through the rest of your body, all those different things. Right now it's in Aquarius, so it's in a space of the bonds that you want. We talked about this when we talked about the root chakra. The relationships that you want, how you want to revolutionize things and do things differently. That is what we're pumping towards. That's what we want. And I will get you this. This also assists Pluto in Aquarius. So Pluto in Aquarius is a direct response to our collective Venus being Aquarius right now. So if we, really tune into this Venus and Aquarius as a collective, it will affect how strong Pluto and Aquarius pushes back on us. Dog toy. I know y'all saw Martha. I know y'all saw Miles in the background, but that'll control how Pluto. So if your vibration is set on nature and nature having the reset and Mother Gaia being heard and things like that, then Pluto will push back because Oya rules over the storms. If your heart, heart deals with wealth and abundance and things like that. So if you're dealing with, if you want some attachment to it or detachment from it or some type of revolutionary type of overall relationship with it, Oya, which also rules over the marketplace, and the wealth within the marketplace, will push back, in its own way, make certain, stocks and bonds, which deals with marketplace, rise and fall, make certain corporations rise and fall, as Pluto also deals with empires, which is dealt with corporations and governments. That's going to fall to how we collectively vibrate. That's why I want to get more into community things and community intentional vibrations and things, because us having this conversation here, like Amanda, your Venus being in Aries in the 12th house, so you're feeling this air onto your fire. You can allow this revolutionary energy connect to your new beginnings. Now you be mindful of not allowing this to consume you and make it bigger than what it is. And then it's in the 12th house, which is Piscean house. So you making it bigger into like you really being able to tap into your Olukun, really tapping into your Akashic records and your past lives, and the going into your darkest self, tapping into your hidden enemies and hidden secrets and hidden agendas and those of others. Is very sensitive at this time. And you want to have a balanced beam, because Pisces wants you to have a balanced beam. The year of 8 wants you to have a balanced beam between being tapped into that non-physical and that physical realm. So attaching this awareness to the new beginnings is helpful. So you with the Cancer, um and then remember, this is coming to you through your community, Amanda. Your 12th house, your Pisces energy is coming through you through the third house, the community, whether it's your immediate family, your cousins, people you grew up with, your community, your city, your neighborhood, people you share a street with, people you go to work with. That's where it's affecting you in that 12th house of your Akashic record. So a lot of these different, even if that's not the exact person you met, maybe an energy exchange is a repeat of your tapped in that realm, right? Venus, your Venus being in Cancer, so this air is attaching to your water. So allow this intellectual energy to infiltrate your intuitive energy, your emotions. So finding that balance between intellectual and emotion energy, and allow that third house community and communication and teachings that come to your ninth house of your humanitarian pursuit. So as you're giving to others, as you're doing for others, as you're nurturing for others, as you're tapped into that that 9 of humanitarian energy, Sagittarius energy of generosity and joy and pleasure, or whatever, allow that community that you attract when you're doing that to give you that intellect that you need to help you balance your emotions, to help you balance that nurturing spirit. um Being here for the community, yeah, let the community serve you. The community is here to help serve your heart chakra. So by you guys learning your heart chakra placements and how the community, that Aquarius third house, is going to vibrate back to you, that'll help you in what you're trying to convey and what you're trying to push out. Excuse me, my throat be dry. um Excuse me. Taurus rules over the internal side of your heart chakra. So this is, now we're getting to the your heart pump vortex around you. Wealth, love, romance, creativity, self-value, priorities, all of those are intangible emotional connectivities things. And that's why Taurus is in the inside. All right. And Jupiter is here to expand yourself in that realm. Uranus is also here to expand yourself, and Uranus more so gives you that push, where Jupiter gives you that download. So Jupiter is going to give you the sage of the wisdom of the sages, that download, that experience. And then in experiences of Jupiter is giving you Aries energy. In the Vedic skies, in the draconic side, Jupiter is also in Aries. Also, by the end of this month, Jupiter will be entering draconic Taurus. So now we have our mindset and our spirit being in alignment in the same, energy. And I find that very interesting, because our experiences will still be in new beginnings. So this is a lot of abundance that our soul is going to start receiving from the sage and the wisdom. A lot of you guys help, a lot of you guys higher help, especially you guys that are really tapped in, is going to come from higher up. So you have to understand that other people that are also tapped into the higher up, this comes back to Venus being in Aquarius and Capricorn, is going to come from the community, the people that you're attracting into your space. The energy that your soul needs to attract into this space. And then I love that we start the month with 11 degrees. Master that Jupiter at the beginning of the month. Find balance. 11 comes together to the 2 for the balance on your Jupiter, expanding that heart chakra and what you prioritize and what gives you a sense of value and what helps you value your relationships and the love and things of that nature. And so you're still going to keep experiencing new beginnings in that space. And we have it in the 6th house. 6th house can be kind of a downer house. 6th house can also be the house of dis-ease, especially if you're not not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So for those of you guys who are not taking care of your heart on a physical level, heart disease, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, you're going to be very sensitive, very, very sensitive to attracting that. Like, damn, all I had was a cookie and my blood sugar feel crazy right now. A lot of you guys are having those experiences like, bro, I man, I have an ounce of sugar. I could feel that shit. Yeah, that's what that is for that ass. New beginnings in this space. We want new things for you. High blood pressure is a big thing here. Go ahead and have them bag of chips if you want. It's going to make mucus instantaneously. A lot of you guys getting sick real easy. The mucus comes real easy because we want new beginnings. We want you to do things different. So that Jupiter is in that sixth house. Is going to create ailments for you, ear, nose, and throat areas where the mucus will come real heavy for you. With that sixth house rule, that's that Virgo house. So be mindful of that. Also, so that's on a physical level. So on an emotional level, so you over there focusing on things that make you mad or sad or depressed or whatever, and you make your heart pump a certain kind of way. I know you all feel that pain in your chest. That's going to come back to you on a physical level. You keep playing around with your heart like that. Don't do that. Stop it. And then if you play around with your heart on a mental level, you're blocking yourself. No two things can stay in the same place at the same time. So your tribe is very sensitive to your mindset because your tribe is spiritual. So your tribe is coming to you on an energetic level, not just on a physical, oh, I work here, you work here, so now we're chilling. Oh, I go to school here, you go to school here, so we're chilling. It's not just that happening anymore. Now it's soul tribe coming, energetic tribe. How is your heart pumping? So if your heart is on a still in a personal 11-year too, oh yeah, dope. I love that. So if your heart is pumping on that on what you don't want and what bothers you and the dis-ease of things, if that's what your heart is pumping, that's what your mindset is on, that's what you're going to attract. Your soul tribe is very sensitive to that. And now that your soul is open because now you're tapped in to you've been opening up your third eye, you've been eating better, you've been meditating, you've been carrying the crystals, you got the organites and the plants, you've been doing all the things. So now you're super sensitive to that stuff. So if you allow yourself to keep going back to that mindset and that heart set and that connectivity of the two with those different events and stuff, now you're opening yourself up to the energy that you don't want even easier as well, while you're blocking your tribe that's sensitive to that energy. And say you do have your tribe around you, right? Go ahead and fall back into that mindset and that happenings and those pumps. Your soul tribe's going to feel that and they're going to push back. They might do it in different ways. Some people might be assertive. It depends on what kind of tribe you attracted yourself to. Some people might say, hey, I don't like that. Some people might say, hey, are you okay? You know, different kind of things. But know that your tribe is feeling that and they feel it with you. And so you got to know it's not just you here, you know, especially if you put it in that work to attract what you wanted. So that's what's Jupiter and Uranus in that sixth house of dis-ease that's going to come to you on those different levels if you don't allow yourself to expand any spaces. Allow yourself to, you know, again, coming back to those open scales, the 11th house. So 11 deals with Aquarius. Bring you back to those bonds in your relationships and remembering that you're Libra scales. You're not here to say, oh, your heart is heavy, so my heart is going to be heavy. Oh, you're selfish, so I'm going to be selfish. Oh, you're playing in my face, so I'm going to play in your face. Oh, you know, I want love, but I want to play games to get love so that I can get the kind of love that I want. That's playing, that's not keeping your heart as light as a feather. And if your heart is not as light feather, you're not going to create feather like Libra scales for yourself. If your heart is heavy on some manipulation and playing games and being calculative and, you know, I can only text you once every hour so I don't look this way and da da da. You're not being in your authentic self. Your heart is not a light as a feather. You're not finding joy in this. You're being calculative. So your energy is always going to have to reflect some type of event around you. Your Oba scales is weighed. They're calloused. It's calculated. Your heart ain't light enough. Your heart is only reflecting heavy things. That's for those people those people in your life that you never want to reflect my good energy. But as soon as I do some nut shit, you want to reflect that real quick. That's those kind of people. You want to be careful with that. You don't want that. Now we're gonna go to the throat chakra. So the throat chakra is ruled by Mercury as Shu. Um, this is communication, how you listen, how you speak, how you teach, how you learn, your ear, nose, and throat area. This is invocation, how you invoke things into your existence. Like you could tell somebody, an event, like, I'm not going to worry about this, or I am going to worry about this, or go away, come closer, sit down, stand up, get away from me. You can invoke things. You can make people upset with your throat chakra. You can make people happy. You can make people feel good. You make people confused. You can do different things with the throat chakra. And what you choose to do with your throat chakra is in alignment with your integrity and your moral code, which also deals with your throat chakra. And then I get into the different color frequencies and the notes that you play and the sounds and the cows and the shape. The inverted pyramid is the shape that you imagine when you are, doing your Reiki on yourself and stuff like that. So on the internal side, the feminine side, this is ruled by Gemini. This is the thought that starts with, and the thoughts can be everywhere, but the goal is to find focus. This comes back to what I was saying about the X-Men and being Cyclops. And we know you could shoot everywhere and create a forest fire. We know you could do the shit. We know that shit. But you are so much more sufficient when you can focus on, oh, I just want to like cook this barbecue. I want to have hot dog. I want to have these, sausages today, or I just want to, set this fireplace today, or I just want to light that candle right there. That's all I want to do. I didn't want to create this big forest fire. But you do have the power to do that. We know you can do everything. We know you can be in all places and all things. And that's the power here. Now, the eighth house is here. This is a space of transformation and power. This is a space to find power in what you know. It's time to find power in what you know. And this also aligns, the planetary throat chakra with the Kabbalah throat chakra being having Gemini in the solar plexus, which is 8, and dealing with the 8th sphere of Sebek, which is labeling and being, when we classify things, now we can invoke it better. When we have that focus, now we can invoke this thing to existence. Like it's like The Secret. I know you guys have probably read that movie, watched a clip from the documentary, or read the whole thing. But with The Secret, they're not saying, oh, say you want to do this. No, they're saying, we want you to sit in the car. Imagine the kind of car it is. Imagine what it smells like. You can't do that for 5 different cars at one time. You can't sit in 6, 7 different cars at once and be holding 5 different steering wheels and have a manual and an automatic at the same time with, 4-wheel drive, but you got 2-wheel drive too. And you can't do all that at the same time. I can't drive my Mazda and my Jeep at the same time. Your energy could. But here, where we're trying to manifest things to the physical, which is our superpower here, our ability to actually experience things in its fullness and wholeness, that is what helps us. So you want to have a focus on what you are materializing. And here with the 8th sphere, the 8th house being here, we know the 8th deals with Scorpius energy, which is the masculine side of the solar plexus. This is where we enforce, right? So we're enforcing. What do you want to see? Let's enforce it. Let's move towards it. Now this is the connection between the thought and the movement, the thought and the gut, right? Because solar plexus chakra was the gut. Now we're moving the body to move into spaces that it needs to move into to manifest what we want to have. This also comes with a certain level of knowledge of detachment between the thought and your actual physical body. Me, I'm not doing this. I'm watching my body do this in reaction to what I'm telling my body to do. Yeah, I'm saying? I hope you do. So now on the masculine side, we have Virgo, which is Lilith is over here. And so exciting, at the end of the month, we're going to have Lilith enter Virgo on the draconic chart, which we'll get into momentarily. I'm almost done, y'all. I got one more chakra left for y'all. But we get into Lilith on the draconic chart, Virgo. So now, right now, our thoughts, the dark moon, Lilith deals with our primordial self and our underlying energy. And right now it's in Virgo, and it's really analyzing our primordial energy, really paying attention to it, organizing it, finding some level of um I won't say control, because certain level of control leads to a certain type of suppression and oppression. And I don't want you guys to stay comfortable with oppressing yourself. You have to allow yourself to flourish. So, and that'll help you accept other people who allow themselves to flourish in their own way, on their own journey, at their own speed, because you don't want anybody imposing on you. Like, I can't say, oh, I'm into chakras and astrology and astronomy, and so because you're not, you're wrong, and you should get like me in order to be enlightened. You should get like me in order to be spiritual. You should get like me in order to be the philanthropist or humanitarian. That's not for me to say. I I'm not here to create that ruler to suppress you and your authentic self. You love business. You love capitalism. You love being the square in the Fibonacci, whereas I love to be the spiral in the Fibonacci. We both exist. Some of you guys like to be the fractals. Some of you guys want to be a 15-degree angle. Some of you guys want to be a 30. Some of you guys want to be the full 90. Some of you guys want to be an obtuse angle. That's not for me to say, oh, because I want to be a 90-degree angle, you can't be that 180. You just doing too much. Like, that's not for me to oppress on you. I like that song by Kimya Dawson. I don't know if y'all familiar with her, but she did like a big chunk of the Juno album, that movie Juno. And I like the song that she sings. I forget the name of it, but she just names all the different walks of life. Like, you might like to wear a suit and tie. You might like to walk barefoot. You might like to grow your own food. You might like capitals. But you guys like all these different things, and we all can coexist and have our different things. I have an issue when you take your capitalism umbrella and put it over my idea to be a naturalist and just be in tune with universal law. I don't want to be in alignment with your corporate law. I don't want to be in alignment with your common law. I want to be in alignment with my nature law, my universal law. That's what I want to be in alignment with. You know what I'm saying? And I should be allowed to have that. And you should be allowed to have your corporate law. You should be allowed to have your capitalistic law. You should be allowed to do your things. And I should be allowed to do my things and mind my business. And we should be able to coexist with one another. Sometimes you might need to come to one of my resorts or one of my retreats because that capitalistic shit is getting heavy. And sometimes I might have to come into your space and do business with you guys. I would love to come into the public schools or come into like the government buildings and teach about energy awareness to assist with, energy exchanges between clients and the service that's being provided to them. Change the attitudes of the people in the DMVs. Shit like that. um you know they can go hand in hand, they can coexist. We're not here to oppress or suppress or say one is better than the other one and one should die and one that has to live. And when we move out of that realm of coexistence, that's when we come into this Lilith and we have to do some shadow work. What about your existence bothers me that I need yours to go away for mine to exist comfortably? That's what Lilith asks us to do. That's what Lilith asks us to ask ourselves. Some of our spiritual people, we say we need capitalism to go away because of your power, because of how you hover over everything. But isn't that what you want spirituality to do? Don't you want spirituality to hover over everything, to be omniscient, omnipotent, omnivision, just omni, just you know? And so, we're upset because we want to be in these positions. Like, I make my jokes, but I say my truths in my jokes, where it's like, I get mad at, certain realms of elite. But to keep it 100, if I was in those positions, I would help out my family and my friends too. I would put them in positions. I would do business with them first. Like we say the things we say about the doctors, you can educate yourself on the doctors and say, okay, I'm just not going to deal with this because now I know how y'all move. Y'all just helping out each other and giving and over medicating me because you got this and that and da 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 da. And you can say, oh, that needs to die because that's how you move. But if you keep it 100 with yourself, oh, I want to be able to make my herbal teas. And I want my homegirl to be able to make her tinctures. And I want my friend over here to be able to make their syrups. And I want my friend over there to be able to make their incense and their sage sticks to create the air cleaning. And I want all of us to have our spaces. And I want us to have different, maybe what do you call it? franchises all over the place and stuff like that. So it's like I'm not so much, you want to be honest with yourself. Why are you mad? I'm mad because I want to do it too. And I want it to be effective and efficient and healing. And these people want to do it too. They just want to, but they want to do it for different reasons. Is your reason more righteous than their reason? My mom keeps telling me to open up a tea shop. Yeah, do that shit. I make a lot of different tea blends that my clients in my store, they come always coming back for my blends. If you feel it in your heart to make tea blends, you live in a very heavily populated area that probably have never experienced the things that you're going to do and the energy you bring and all that stuff. So do that shit. Just like where I'm at. People get an energy. Some people just come in the store just to sit with me and feel my energy. And they tell me that. I just came here because I like energy. Some people just come in the store just to touch my crystals. Like, I just want to come over here and touch your crystal. I just came in here because I really love the way you smell. I really love the way it smells when I come in here. I really love the way I feel when I walk in here. And they just chat. Like, I get a lot of that. And some, and they'll buy a tea bag, but sometimes they didn't even come in there for the tea bag. You know what I'm saying? So, and I want to be able to do that on a larger scale. So I'm not going to be upset at other people that can do it. I want to look at your blueprint, see how you did it, and I'm going to perfect it. Good night. Love you. And I'm going to apply it how I want to apply it to myself. And so, that's what Lilith calls on you to do. Now we get into the third eye, y'all. I'm going to have to take a potty break in between this. So I'm going to play a music video for y'all. I ain't going to hold y'all when we get to the last chakra. And then I'll be back with the astronomical report. All right. But let's talk about third eye first while I sway back and forth. So the third eye is ruled by the sun and the moon. So this is the most concentrated chakra because all the other chakras is just ruled by one celestial body, whereas this chakra is ruled by two, the sun and moon. Excuse me. So you have Heru and Offset. Excuse me. So the sun, we started off at our mindset, at an 11 degrees Pisces. So we have another 11 here. We had Jupiter at 11 degrees. We have the sun number. We started the month off in a space of mastering this Pisces energy, and 11 comes together to 2. So finding balance again. The goal is to be the line in between the Piscean joint, and then remember 3-1. So now we're taking the knowledge and the wisdom that we learned in the month of 1 and 2. Oh, yay. We're about to move into 111, y'all. So now we're taking the knowledge and wisdom we moved from month 1 and 2, and we're aligning it with the understanding of month 3. So on 3-1, finding that 2 on that Pisces is, really, really dope. And we did that on the 4th house. So that's the house of the moon, your Moja, Cancer house. We did that on our third eye chakra, our intuitive space, our feminine space, home and family. We applied that mastery to that Piscean energy. And by the end of the month, the sun will be in Aries on our mindset. Now, what's happening in our space, we had that revolutionary experience in our bonds and our relationships, and we're gravitating to them and we're experiencing them because the sun is not who you are. I know a lot of you guys were like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a Virgo, I'm blah, blah, blah. You're not that. Your sun is your experiences. I have Virgo experiences, which is very true. I do have a lot of Virgo experiences. It'd be Virgo as fuck. But I am a Leo. My rising sign, your rising sign is like your crown chakra, if you will. That is your auric. That is the energy you give off when you put in a room, when you go into a room. That's your appearance. And your auric energy is seen on your physical body. This is the divine connection between your physical and non-physical. That's why your crown chakra is the gateway between your physical chakras and your auric chakras. You get into another plane of existence, if you will. So your sun is your experiences. The rising is the connection. That's where you see, you look like a Leo, or you look like this, or you carry yourself like that. I felt that energy when you came in the room. You're a Libra rising. So that is your aura. And then I want to say you're a 0 degree Libra rising on the Vedic chart, if I'm correct. And then maybe on the Draconic chart, you might be back to Virgo, right? But yeah, Libra. So that is your auric energy. You give off that balance, that sense of justice. You give off that heart chakra energy. You give off that air heart chakra energy, which is the connection between the emotional and the intellectual self when you're balanced. Now, when you're imbalanced, there's an imbalance between the intellectual and the heart chakra. You can go too emotional, or you could be too logical and removing yourself from that emotional realm, which can cut you off from compassion and empathy, sympathy, and connection. So you want to have a balance between the two. It's very essential for you. And you have to definitely work on the Vedic, your 0 degrees Virgo, or 0 degrees make things happen real easy for you. So you want to be mindful of getting sucked into them black holes of the Virgo constellation. Um in conjunct your moon, yeah, be mindful of that getting sucked into them constellations heavily. That overthinking, overanalyzing that can create your ailments and your dis-ease. Um, but it's also very intellectual person. You learn very easily. You grasp onto concepts very easily. You learning things through patterns. It's cool for you. And again, that brings you back to a space of that connection between the heart and your intellectual self. You doing the Sabbath Sundays, you having that tea store. And I can see you in the tea store reading tea leaves or teaching people about the tea and what you do and stuff. Like you having that connection between I'm going to teach you and I'm going to nurture you. In that tea shop will be a divine love. And then Virgo is earth. That's the plants. That's divine connection right there. Um, I love that for you. Yeah, you should do a tea shop. So as a collective, we're having Pisces experiences in our thoughts, you know, um, you know, our mindset is here. Everybody's saying it's Pisces season, it's my season, it's me, and all the Pisces are coming out, and it's my season, and this and the third, and this is what we're doing under Pisces season. That's where our mind is at. So our mindset is on all things Pisces energy, that Akashic records, the Olokun, the deep meditation, going into that worm moon. You know how deep the earth, the worm is? We're coming into a worm moon. Um, going into the depths of self and stuff like that before we come out. A seed is about to start, sprouting, but in order to sprout, it has to go into the depths of self and push through. So that's what we're doing in this space. And this Piscean energy is Mayat. And in order to tap into Mayat, you have to really reprogram the depths of self. Now, on our actual events happening around us type of experiences, it's Aquarius. It's all about our bonds and us becoming more social and being revolutionary and who we want to socialize with this spring. Some of you guys aren't socializing with the same people that y'all was hanging out with last year or the year before that. Some of you guys want new bonds and connections. Some of you guys want new experiences. Some of you guys are about to go outside and start marching outside. You already know how these folks do they rituals. And I told you towards the end of the month, we got the Scorpio moon. We got the Pisces new moon happening next Sunday. And then we have the Virgo full moon. So we get that 6 and 12 o'clock happening on the 24th, 25th ish. And so with that Pisces, Virgo, or what's the other one? They're trying to say Libra, Aries. So it's Pisces, Virgo, Libra, Aries connection. Now you have this month, the moon is actually in line with the north and south node, as well as the Chiron. So again, people being triggered in their wounds, overthinking, overanalyzing this space, but learn how to organize those wounds, learn how to move towards, really pay attention to what you want to grab from that south node and that north node and find balance and to bring into new beginnings. With these moons and their alignments. My throat is going out again. But that's what the sun is doing for us. Um, the moon. Our moon is in Scorpio. We started the month off with the moon in Scorpio in the 12th house. So it was giving us those transformational, downloads in our spiritual, intuitive self in the 12th house, which is Pisces house. So, with 3-1 was a very spiritual day for us. And then at the end of the month on the 31st, it'll be an expanding day for us as we go into April, which is all about foundation and structure as we go into the month of 4, right? So all you do in this month of 3 is find focus through all these emotional all these creative, passionate situations. Because I know you guys are going to be passionate. You guys want to grow all these things. You guys want to be like 30 different flowers at one time. And you got to pick a flower you want to be. All right. If you want to be all these different flowers at one time, I'm telling you, when we get to the month of 4, you're going to be everywhere. If you want money, if you want abundance, you have to find a focus. What do you want to focus on to make this money? Like, I had my awareness today on this day of well, it's 3-5 now, but on the day of 3-4, even open myself up on the day of 3-3. That's the one prograde for us to be able to do this. So that's the rules over our passions. So with that being said, coming into space, mm, 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 mm. Where was I going with this? I don't know. But we're moving in our passions. You move. Oh yeah. You don't want to be all over the place. You want to have focus when we come into the month of 4, because you want to be able to establish something, especially if abundance is your goal. And when we move into that Vedic Aries energy in the middle of April, you want your flowers to, you want what it is that you want to bloom and have that birth and new beginning. And trying to give birth to a bunch of different babies at one time is going to be wild for you. It's going to be difficult. It's kind of like pulling a reverse 9 of pentacles for yourself and just dropping them. Any reverse of pentacles, honestly. So if you're trying to juggle love relationships, the pentacles are going to fall. If you're trying to juggle those job hats and shit, some of those pinnacles are going to fall. Business, some of those pinnacles are going to fall. I won't say nothing too much on the spiritual walk, because you are infinite spiritual being, and it's natural to want to do all aspects for healing of self. So that self-fulfillment, yes, but when it comes to expelling and expressing with that mindset of monetary goal, or what do I add to a community, or how can I contribute, find a focus. And also be willing to absorb the energies that other people have to contribute to you, which will assist you. So having a focus on how you assist yourself will do well too. I know a lot of you guys get selfish with your own energy and say, oh, I can be my own herbal healer, my own Reiki healer, my own astrological healer, my own numerology. Yeah, it's good to, have that self-knowledge and do that self-studying. However, you do want to be able to open yourself up to people who could see you, because that's the Aquarius energy as well. Healing isn't just about Pisces, about you going into yourself and separating yourself and being in that Olukun deep waters all to yourself. It's also about coming up for air and being a part of the collective and allowing the collective to show you parts of yourself as well. And what your Olukun has a capacity to attract is like, you have the third eye, you have the pineal gland, you have the indigo in your brain. But what good is that if you're not allowing that frequency to pulsate throughout your neurons, throughout your body, to manifest, to attract, to do things? You know what I mean? I won't say it's useless, but like, yeah, it could be better. It could be a little better. Thank you guys on TikTok for sharing and liking and joining and everything. I see a lot of love out here. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Gemini Jim. Peace, peace, sis. But yeah, that's so, like, in the feminine side of your third eye, you have the vertex here. The vertex is how we're attracting. So again, it comes back to to what I keep saying, like your vertex is attracting, where your depth of being is. It pretty much summed up what I just said about the your indigo part of your brain. And what good is it if you're not pulsating it through your neurons to attract? And that's what that vertex in Cancer. Cancer can go into the depths of waters too and get pretty deep, even though Yamoja rules over the shallow waters while Olukun rules over the deep. However, just having these two up in the third eye, the connection between the two, we want to remind you to come out and express those, because the vertex is also in Gemini and the Vedic chart, and we don't deal with a vertex in Draconic because the moon is automatically set back to 0 degrees Aries. So we don't do that on the astronomical chart of the Draconic chart. So it's just tropical and Vedic, your mindset and your experiences. So your mindset is on that Cancer energy and being intuitive and the downloads and the depth of being of yourself. And remember to align all set and all SAR together, because all SAR is Aquarius, which is Shango, which is in the root chakra on our chart, but also in the crown chakra on the Kabbalah. So that's the connection between your third eye and your root chakra as well. And the vertex is also in the eighth house. So this is the eighth house of your solar plexus chakra and enforcement of this connection too. Um, yeah. Your north node and your midheaven are in Cancer on the tropical. Okay, so in your thoughts and when you're tapped into your intuitive space, when you're tapped into your feminine energy and your emotional self and stuff like that, that's the direction you're going towards. And that is also where your abundance is. Yes, agreed. hmm And I see you moving into it. I see you wearing it on you and stuff like that. You're definitely walking into your light in that realm. I don't deny that at all. And your pinnacles are definitely going to come to you by you staying in that space. Now, the ninth house is in Leo. That's the only thing we have in Leo right now until we get into the asteroids, which I'm gonna get into it with y'all as well, after these short messages or after this potty break. But the ninth house is the Sagittarius house. That's when we deal with expansion and your knowledge and your oracle and sage and your wisdom. And that what we want you to have is that level of wisdom and that awareness coming into your experiences. I want, like, please join the safe space and take the energy awareness course. I also have some courses that I'll be teaming up with other people to teach as I've walked into my light and I said, I want my abundance to come from teaching. This is something I'm very passionate about. It's something I love to do. When I look at how my planets are lined up, this is where it's at. I learn to teach. As I grow, we grow, right? So this is something that I want to move into. This is my light. I love to make music. That's my passion. That's my joy. That's what I love to do. That's not how I want to make my abundance. That's just something that I want to love to do because I can't keep my heart as light as a feather in that music business. The way I would want to. You know what I mean? But I can keep the joy in it if I keep it in an artistic realm. With my jewelry, also something that I love to do. That's what I provide healing with. I love to heal people with my jewelry and my pieces and things like that. I love when people come and gravitate to them. However, that is not going to be where my abundance comes from. My abundance, I want it to come from teaching. These podcasts that I'm doing, that I'm opening my vortex back up into, the Sunday services is coming back. Virgo Virgin Talk is coming back. Sees the Sun is coming back. I'll be realigning with Do the Knowledge Radio more often. I'll be realigning with Seeds of Sun podcast more often as I become a star seed on her platform. I'll be, on other podcasts more often. You guys are going to see more of me coming out and teaching and educating and providing that edification, because this is where it's at for me. You know what I'm saying? And I love that, you guys are able to comprehend and apply how I teach and what I teach and stuff like that. So, and that's me standing into my ninth house, Leo, in alignment with the transit. Now, I'm a Leo rising, so this ninth house is heavy on me, on my existence. My Jupiter is also in Leo. And my palace, my genius-like qualities that I like to overlook it's also in Leo. So with these placements in Leo, really paying attention to myself and what I'm good at, and that leadership space that everybody keeps putting me in, that makes my Virgo energy be like, bro, I just want to go sit in a corner by myself. I just want to sit in the dark a little bit. But really put me out into that position. I feel most comfortable being a leadership role in the classroom more than anything else. So you connect your Leo placements to this ninth house and find expansion on, your experiences in those placements, right? That's what we do here. And of course, the crown chakra is the connection between the last 6 chakras we went over. And now we get into our other planes of self. And if you want to get into the other planes of self with me, you got to join the Safe Space Certification Group, because when you get to the second level and the third level, and when you graduate and get your Safe Space certification, I get really deep into teaching you guys about the planes and the dimensions and the Kuiper belt and the asteroids and taking you beyond your physical self and your physical chakras and stuff like that. And it's fun there. But the crown chakra is the gateway between, the chakras I just went over and those of other planes and dimensions. And that is the connection with the universe. Now, nakshatras. This is how the nakshatras are divided. And I will get back to you guys on this after this short video because Shouty gotta go real quick. Peace, peace.
I've been calling you, but you don't pick it up. I'm so sick of it, still I can't stop. I've been calling you about your kiss and games. Your selfish bird telling me to stay. I've run out of patience, but you don't give a damn about the things I do. I'm so sick of the ways, so I take a leap of faith, hoping you will still behave, 'cause I will be here waiting.
I don't know what's up with this world, with these men that act like boys, boys that wanna be girls, girls that wanna be boys, and women that act like girls. What's wrong with ya? No, I can't get along with ya. That's why I wrote this song for ya. I hope my prayers make it to the good Lord for ya. 'Cause you know I break the law for ya. Yeah, you know I risk it all for ya. But can't get the thing after everything that I offered ya. Guess I must be offered to ya. That's what them demons say when they be talking to ya. Guess that's why I can't get a ring and you won't answer me no more calling ya.
I've been calling you, but you don't pick it up. I'm so sick of it, still I can't stop. I've been calling you about your kiss and games. Your selfish bird telling me to stay. I've run out of patience, but you don't give a damn about the things I do. I'm so sick of the ways, so I take a leap of faith, hoping you will still behave, 'cause I will be here waiting.
I am like something you never had before. When those to this, you'll be back for more. That's for sure. What you laughing for? The last thing I'm finna be is the last resort. I'm so not with the back and forth. I jump straight to conclusions and I'm out the door. Drop these ends, get you a real one. You always stay in touch with who ain't feeling ya. I don't even know why you deal with them, 'cause you ain't getting back what you're giving them. I hate to burst your bubble, it's full of helium, but it ain't healing ya. You never really broke my heart, you just hurt my feelings. And what I learned from this is, if you looking for love, don't search for this. Shh. Don't search for this. Said if you looking for love, don't search for this. Shh. Don't search for this. Shh. I'm done calling you. 'Cause you won't pick it up. 'Cause deep don't give up. I'm so sick, I'm done. I'm done calling you. You just pay kissy face. Selfish bird telling me to find a way.
All right, I'm back. Peace again. Let me know if you can hear me all right. But okay, so coming back to the next chakras. Excuse me. We got 27 of them Jones. It's called Lunar Mansions. All right. Let me bring out my handy dandy big book, because I got some notes in here about the nakshatras. I wanted to share with y'all real quick before we move on to the astronomical report, because I know that's why a lot of y'all really hear. Y'all just want to hear what it y'all ain't want to see me talk. Y'all just want to hear me dance. I make up my own words. Anyway, So there's 27 of them. And these are lunar constellations. So we're talking about lunar placements here. Um oh, okay. After a while, Instagram stops me from doing the do. I don't know. Anyway, so there's 27 of them. We're talking about like where the moon goes. Okay, so we're talking about your soul's experiences here. And that's why a lot of people are into the nakshatras, because the nakshatras get into your past life. And when you get into like the way that they put up the natal charts with the crosses over, which is something that I will be teaching and utilizing in the near future. I've been studying it for some years now, and I think I'm starting to feel comfortable enough to start teaching it. You know what it is with me? It's my enunciation of the words. I'm not in that culture, so like I be feeling self conscious about that. But anyway, each of the nakshatras are 13 degrees. So you know how in astrology we usually deal with 30 degrees. Now in this space we're dealing with 13 degrees, which is equitable to 20 minutes. Okay, so that's 3 nakshatras you pass through in an hour timing. Okay, um so essentially you can go through all of them in a day. You feel me? So it begins with Ashwini nakshatra, which is 0 degrees of Aries, and it ends with Revati. We do have a 28th nakshatra. Each nakshatra is divided into 4 padas. All right. And that even gets into more, detail what the padas are. And each constellation is considered a star. So that's when you get into like the deity names of each nakshatra, because each of them are a star, so they have their own energy. Each subdivision is, we said that 13 degrees. So each pada is about 3 degrees. And so you would have, can you see my mouse? Okay, y'all can't see my mouse. So you would have like the houses. These are the standard 12 houses, right? Boom. And then, of course, they give you the ascendant, the descendant, which is the 1st and the 7th. And then they give you the 10th and the, Jesus Christ, I can't talk. The 4th. So you have this 4-way on the zodiac. So then they divide it up behind it with the nakshatras. So now you can see how the nakshatras kind of, some of them are 2 houses at the same time. Some of them are just 1, but now you can see the connection between the 2. And then you can also see the connection between the nakshatras and the houses and the zodiacs. So they're not all completely lined up. There can be periods of time where they're all locked up, but they're not, more presently, they're not completely locked up. Now, when you get into like transit, like placements, like you might have like the sun placed like locked into 1, 2, 3 or whatever. And that's cool. You'll see like what your ruling planet is, for real over certain spaces and stuff like that. But this is how it's set up. So it gets even more into detail in between the houses and the zodiacs, just to show you like this is like way, way, way more precise when you get into the nakshatras. It's this one movie that came out called Evil Eye. I really like that. That's a really good Amazon movie where the lady she shows how they do like the Hindu astrology tables or whatever with the nakshatras, and she was able to say like, oh, your boyfriend, he was from my past life boyfriend, and stuff like that. And you can really like pinpoint that stuff down. I also like to get into the nakshatras when I'm helping people with their business building, because this can really get into like where your soul's abundance, because again, we're talking about the moon here. This is the lunar mansions, how the moon is moving. So it can really get into how your soul can get the abundance or the attraction or whatever it is that you need. You can really get that, pinpoint that here. And that's also what I do here when I get into the numerology. I may not have like the deity, the Hindu deity, metaphysical energy connection, but I do have the numerology, like, oh, this is at 19 degrees. So this being in 19 degrees of your Sagittarius energy at this house gives you this specific energy. So I won't say they're exactly the same, but they're very mirror like, you know what I mean? But that is how you can, pinpoint that down. These are the different fixed stars that you can always find in our skies from my sky watchers out there. And the different constellations you can find these fixed stars in, that we be making our triangles and conjunctions and minimal angles and stuff like that with. All right. And so we're about to come into the spring equinox. So let's get into the astronomical report. So what's today? Today is the 5th. So I'll kind of speed through the first couple ones. So March 1st, we had a 73 gibbous Scorpio Libra 12th house moon. It was Scorpio on the tropical, so our mindset was on transformations, but our experiences was on the balancing of the scales or Opa scales. Then the moon and Zubin El Janubi were in conjunction that day as well. March 2nd, we were in a 64%, Juan and Gibbous moon. That was still Scorpio and Libra, but now we're in the first house. So now we're in our temperament with it. If we like, how things are going and certain stuff, it's kind of hard to hide it on the second. The moon into Shuba and the moon in Graphius were in conjunction and middle angle that day. And both of those stars deal with the Scorpius constellation. So you're dealing with that space of strategic energy, transformations, death, rebirth, undertakings and, imagination and passion, things of that nature. And then Southern Pleiades was highest in the sky at midnight. Venus entered Draconic Aquarius on the 2nd. So now we have the soul heart chakra experience in Aquarius, giving you that social revolutionary energy. On March 3rd, which was a couple days ago, we had the 54% Juan and Gibbous moon. And when I talk about the percentage that the moon is at and when it rises and falls, that's in comparison to midnight of that day. That is how the moon was at midnight on March 3rd. That's the tropical and Vedic placement that the moon was at on midnight on March 3rd. So if it transited throughout that day to another planet or house by the end of that evening, I would address that on the next day at midnight. For those of you guys who want to know the specifics. So March 3rd, we have a 54% Juan and Gibbous moon in Scorpio and Sagittarius. So now like our mindset is on expanding itself and the joy and generosity and optimism, while our experiences is on the transformations. And we're showing that on our outer self. The moon in Aries. So like the Schumann and Graphia stars, they're here for transformation. They're like way more intense. And Aries kind of softens up a little bit because it has the Mars and Jupiter energy, which brings justice and pride and velour, but just more on like a celebratory way, whereas the Schumann and Graphias is more like on a challenging type of way. We also experienced the last quarter moon on the 3rd. Ursa Major was opposite the sun. That's the big bear, the big dipper. So it had the best visibility. And then Juno was also opposite the sun. This is the asteroid that lets you know what you need in a bond, a contract, relationship. So now that it's on the spotlight being best visibility, that's also bringing you to a space of what do you need in a relationship to want to stay in it? You know what I mean? March 4th, we had started the day off with a 43% Juan and Crescent moon. Now, the moon was in our thoughts in Sagittarius, expansion, generosity, optimism, and joy and things. And our experiences is on the solar plexus energy of transformation. But now we're experiencing this in our 2nd house. That's why the 4th was a good day to find focus on where it is you want to experience your abundance. because that's what the second house is. And you should have got your downloads. You should have had a moment where it was like, aha, this is how I want to focus my energy. This is what I should be doing. This is da da da. And if you didn't do it, someone probably came into your space and said something to you about it, like, this is where you belong. This is what you should be doing, whatever, what have you. I know that happened to me. I was in the store and this girl, I had seen her before and she had said this to me before, but just the fact that she came in on this day and said it to me again, it was just like, okay, I heard you. But she was just like, yeah, you belong in here. This is you. This is exactly where you need to be. And then, yesterday, another woman came in and she's like, I see you in your purpose. I feel your energy. I love coming in here for you, whatever, whatever. So it was just like those confirmational moments, having people come and ask me to do a class or teach something. And I just got done talking to the universe about teaching and finding a focus with my energy. Shit like that. You think about those moments that happen to you. But yeah, that was the March 4th energy. Now we had the comet, which is probably why they were spraying. Now, I don't know if you guys are in the New Jersey area like me. Maybe it was a little different for you where you were at, but over here in Jersey, yo, the clouds just came in so fucking crazy. And I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, yeah, I think it has something to do with, like, comet in the sky or something they try to blotch out or whatever. Because like the way the clouds was looking today was wild. But that was the comet that was going through the serpent's constellation, which deals with, of course, the serpent and the kundalini rising and giving us that cosmic ancestral dust across our kundalini as it, begins to rise into the spring. Mercury also entered draconic Pisces yesterday. So now we have our throat chakra invoking on what we believe and, Mercury deals with the teacher in the room, the instructor in the room, the invoker in the room. So in certain rooms, certain people are that position. So they're being the manipulator, doing their magic or whatever, being tapped into your Akashic records, invoking people, whether you want to invoke secret enemies or whatever, what have you. Some of you guys are focused on the war part of this revolution. Guess what? That's what you're about to invoke. Some of you guys are focused on the love part of this revolution. Some of you guys are focused on the abundance part. Whatever different parts you are focused on, that is what you're invoking into the space, that having those levels of spiritual, experiences. But I would like for us to move away from the space of believing and more into the space of knowing. Now, today was March 5th. We will be starting what we did because it's past midnight now. It's 1:44. But we started the day off with a 32% waning crescent moon rising at 3:22 a.m. and setting at 12:09 p.m. Now, in our thoughts, we're in Capricorn energy, and our energy in our vortex, we're in Sagittarius. So our mindset is on what we are building. What are we constructing? What are some challenges we're going through? What kind of boundaries, discipline, and order? How would we like to receive our resources? How would we like to be resourceful? And what we attract in our vortex is expansion. So when you have this thought and these things, the way you doing things, let the universe show you, okay, I see the way you want to do things. All right, let me put my little seasoning into it. Let me give you a little bit of flavor. And when you allow that in, that's going to help you in your second house, which is your place of wealth, wisdom, love, emotions, things of that nature. The maximum declination of the moon is at 2 a.m., which is in like 15 minutes. So this will be the furthest south of the moon during this orbit, which you'll feel it, but you won't, see it too much because we're entering the new moon. But you will see the beautiful big crescent and the moon of cause borealis being in conjunction and minimal angle. The minimal angle at 11:01 a.m., conjunction at 8:35 a.m. The moon being 3.5 degrees southeast. And we'll be able to observe that at 5:31 a.m. with a 3.6 degrees southwest separation. So Cos Borealis is the star in the Sagittarius constellation. It gives off the energy of Jupiter and Mars. So we're expanding and we're being, still along the lines of Aries of the Mars and Jupiter. Giving off strength, flexibility, reasoning, expansion on your strategies. Again, saying, let the universe put its little baby seasoning on what it is that you're trying to do. You deserve it. You deserve that spiritual support. Also, we'll be experiencing the AM visibility of Aquarius and March 6th, 22% waning crescent moon. And our mindset will be in Capricorn, still on our root chakra, while our experiences is expanding us on how do we do things, still in our second house of wealth and emotions. The sun rising at 6:07 and setting at 6:14. The north pole of the moon will be tipped on into view at 1:43. The moon in Albalda will be in conjunction at 11:01 p.m. The moon will be 6.4 degrees south. Now, excuse me, Albalda is also a star in the Sagittarius constellation. It's located at the back of the head of the archer, and this brings on the energy of harvest gains. It's also a space of building and traveling as well. So finding that anger, nurturing space at home and family, and really expanding yourself even more, and trusting that the expansion on your original strategic plan is doable. You can harvest that. You can manifest that. That's why the universe gave you that razzle dazzle on top of your thing you were doing. The International Space Station is visible from 8:03 to 8:06 p.m. in the Eridanus constellation. Eros, the asteroid of love, will be entering the Taurus zodiac at 10:50 a.m. So now we have Eros entering that in feminine side of our heart chakra. Chiron will be entering Draconic Aries, so our soul will be having those new beginning experiences and how we transmute our wounds. Also, this will be aligning slowly with the North Node in Draconic space, as well as those continue to line up towards the end of the month. Um, the goal is to be able to transmute your wounds and find strength in them instead of utilizing them as reasons to keep you detached and cut off and upset and angry and all those things that Mars does. Mars can motivate us to anger and detachment and being, vindictive and vengeful. And Mars can be all those things if we allow it to be, you know. And that's that Aries Ogun energy. March 7th, 13% one in crescent moon. Moon rising at 5:01 a.m. and setting at 2:39 p.m. We are in our thoughts in Aquarius. So now we're building on our emotional revolutionary energy, walking to our uniqueness, social, bonds and stuff, paying attention to that energy. Now in our vortex, we're going to be building with that energy. And who we're building with? The third house, our community, what we've learned, what we teach, people in our space. We have a 6:07 a.m. sunrise and a 6:14 p.m. sunset. The moon and Pluto. So now we have transformations to our third eye, to our moon, home and family, maternal, feminine energy, and also finding confidence in how we speak, about our downloads and uploads happen heavy on that day, the 7th. That's Thursday. That's on the day of Obatala. Minimal angle at 12:34 a.m. The moon will be 2.1 degrees south, conjunction at 12:18 a.m. with the moon being 2.1 degrees south. We'll be able to observe that at 3:44 a.m. with a 3-degree southeast separation. Venus in Deneb Al Geldi will have a minimal angle at 5:20 p.m. Observe it at 5:10 a.m. with a 1.8 degree north separation. Now, Deneb El Geldi is a star in the Capricorn constellation. It's located at the tail of the goat, and this is the energy of happiness. So let your vortex vibrate on happiness that day. That's what we want it to be. The best visibility of the Earth shine on the moon will happen just before sunrise that day. So you'll have like the full moon appearance right before sunrise. The International Space Station will be visible from 17 p.m. to 7:21 p.m. in the Canis Major constellation. Still talking about the Big Dipper. Vesta will be entering the Gemini constellation. So now on the Vedic chart, we have our passion asteroid entering community, communication, teaching, and learning. In this space, we have to find grounding. What do you want to communicate with the community about? What do you want to learn? What do you want to teach? What do you want to hear? What do you want to speak on? What community do you want to be in? A lot of you guys are straining yourself through multiple communities instead of being focused on one and learning how to consolidate on one. We know you can do everything. We know you're infinite. But now we want you to find passion and a focus. So Vesta enters that, and that's the key for the Vesta in Gemini. My Vesta is in Gemini, so I know this personally. But that's happening in our vortex and our experiences. You're going to experience firsthand what it's like, and you're going to see what it's like to be juggling a bunch of pentacles, because some of them you're going to be dropping, and some of them you're going to be carrying on full force, and you're going to realize, oh, this is where my passion is, because I was able to keep these pentacles going, and those other ones, I don't feel too bad about dropping them. For real, for real, I can get back to them later. It's not a big deal. But that's happening at 10:55 a.m. on March 7th. And then Mars enters Draconic Aquarius. So now we have, your gut, your your motivation, on the soul level entering that revolutionary energy, attachment, be finding detachment, some of your strategies as you finally adopt the ability to be unique and creative and how you want to go about doing things. March 8th, we start off the day with a 6% waning crescent moon rising at 5:38 a.m. and setting at 4 p.m. We are in our mindset of Aquarius, of detachment and revolutionary energy, and we are in our vortex of Capricorn, of building with our community and creating the boundaries, discipline, and order, and our accumulation of resources that we need through our intellect and community. Sun rising at 6:07 a.m. and setting at 6:13 p.m. The moon and Mars. So now we have the connectivity between our third eye and our solar plexus chakra. They're connecting at 3:14 a.m. The moon will be 3.8 degrees south. Minimal angle at 4:49 a.m. The moon will be 3.7 degrees south southeast, and it'll be visible at those respective times. So you'll be able to see Mars and the moon together for all my sky watchers out there. The moon and Deneb LJD will be in conjunction at 3:36 p.m. We'll be able to observe that at 5:34 a.m. with a 5.3 degree southwest separation. And we talked about Deneb Al-Jaldi being the star of happiness at the tail of the goat of the Capricorn constellation, giving off the energy of Saturn and Jupiter. So we feel that root chakra, the challenges that give us the boundaries, the discipline and resources we need, but we feel a sense of joy, generosity, and optimism in the midst of these challenges. So may you keep your heart open so you can be in alignment with those connections of the moon, Mars, and Deneb Jaldi. Mercury and Neptune will also be in minimal angle. So now we have the connection between our throat chakra and our sacral chakra, and that's supposed to. So we can invoke, ingest, learn, teach that level of joy in this space. And that minimum angle is happening at 2:32 p.m. The moon will be 0.4 degrees north-northwest, conjunction at 5:31 p.m. Mercury will be 0.5 degrees north, and no, it will not be visible. The International Space Station will be visible from 6:34 p.m. to 6:36 p.m. and then again at 8:05 p.m. to 8:09 p.m. And the Triangulum constellation, Europa, which is the moon on Jupiter, is visible early evening before disappearing behind Jupiter at 9:30 p.m. The Wishing Well cluster Carina will be at the highest point in the sky at midnight. Mercury enters the Pisces constellation, so now we have experiences of our throat chakra in that space of being able to invoke your Akashic records and beliefs you wish to dispel. Venus enters the Aquarius constellation, so now you will be, as your throat chakra is invoking those spaces, your heart chakra is giving you those revolutionary, unique experiences, the social bonds and experiences you need, as well as intellectual. The sun also enters Draconic Pisces, so now you have your actual experiences, the soul experiences, going into that Pisces energy as well, of your Akashic records and your soul tribe. Lilith enters Draconic Virgo. So now you have this lineup of Lilith entering Virgo on the tropical, Vedic, and Draconic level, really being able to pay attention to your primordial self and your connection to your primordial self and your observation of how everyone goes about carrying their own. March 9th, 2% waning crescent moon will rising at 6:09 a.m. and setting at 5:23. All that to say, March 8th is a big deal on the Draconic and the Vedic charts level. Lots big transits on March 8th. 3-8, which is day of transformation. 3 and 8 come together and create mastery. 11 and 11 and 8 come together and make 19. Y'all know I love my 19, but that is definitely a karmic number of learning how to be one amongst the collective. That's a heavy solar plexus chakra day. And then that solar plexus, brings us from Scorpio to Aries. So, severe energy that day, heavy happenings, high highs and low lows, learning to stay within the homeostasis in between all of those transits, those heavy numbers is key that day. March 9th, 2% waning crescent moon rising at 6:09 a.m. and setting at 5:20 p.m. And our minds were on this Pisces energy. We're in the space of what we believe, Olukun Akashic records. However way you balance that 8th day will determine how deep and detached you are on this 9th day. Then the 4th house is in Aquarius and home and family, your feminine self. Now we're dealing with your moon energy and your detachment and pretty much reiterating what I just said. Sunrise at 6:07 a.m., sunset at 6:13 p.m. The moon and Venus. Now we have the connection between your third eye and your pulse, your frequency, your Venus, your heart chakra. Be mindful there. Minimal angle at 8:01 p.m. The moon will be 2.5 degrees south southeast. Conjunction at 6:41 p.m. with the moon being 2.7 degrees south. We'll be able to observe that at 5:21 a.m. with a 7.6 degrees south. 7.6 degree east separation. The evening visibility of Mercury bands, the moon and Saturn will also be in conjunction. So we have a triangle happening between the moon, Venus, and Saturn, which is our third eye, our root chakra, and our heart chakra. Okay. Have the wisdom about your challenges for your resources to keep your heart as light as a feather, and pay attention to what you want to attract in your vortex with that triangle there. The moon is Saturn being in conjunction at 7:09 p.m. The moon is 1 degree south, minimal angle at 7:30 p.m. The moon is 0.9 degrees south southeast, and it will not be visible. The International Space Station will be visible from 7:16 to 7:24 p.m. in the Triangulum constellation. Also, March 9th marks the beginning day. I think it was from March 9th to the 12th, where you'll be able to start the Messier Marathon. So for all my sky watchers that take the telescope, there's like over 110 deep sky objects like galaxies and black holes and things of that matter that you can find in the sky. You could be able to spot it majority on the 9th. On March 10th, now we're at a 0% new moon. Moon rising at 7:36 a.m. and setting at 7:39 p.m. Our mind is on Pisces energy under this new moon, so we are big day for channeling and downloads and absorbing and connecting and grounding. Our vortex is on Aquarius, so we will gravitate to what we need when we do that in the fourth house of home and family, maternal third eye energy. Sunrise at 6:06 a.m. and setting at 6:13 p.m. The International Space Station is visible at 5:16 a.m. to 5:24 a.m. and then again at 6:33 p.m. to 6:38 p.m. Also, this is a super new moon. The moon is the smallest distance to Earth, and that begins at 9:01 a.m. So even though the moon rises at 7:36 a.m., the new moon is not at 100 till 9:01 a.m. And again, it is a super new moon because remember we talked about the moon being at its furthest declination point. The moon and Neptune are in conjunction on this day at 8:55 p.m. So again, March 9th, March 10th, March 8th, 9th, 10th are heavy days. That's this weekend coming up, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Big days. The moon and Neptune being in conjunction, connecting your third eye to your Olukun, your sacral chakra, your Akashic records. Really good download day that day. That's happening at 8:55 p.m. Minimal angle at 9:05 p.m. The moon will be 0.1 degrees east, and occultation does occur. So occultation is kind of like an eclipse, you know. So an eclipse between the moon and Neptune is a beautiful thing. The clocks spring forward in that time too. Yeah, the super new moon energy is definitely being felt in Pisces. Heavy downloads, definitely heavy spiritual connection, and wanting to pull the Hermit card a little bit, but I won't say fighting against it, but also trying to find a balance with it because you don't want to fully detach yourself because then you create a prison for yourself, which is a part of the story of Oluku. March 11th, we're at a 1% waxing crescent moon, the moon rising at 8:02 a.m. and setting at 8:56 p.m. Our mindset is on Aries. So now that we've experienced the super new moon, now we're having new beginnings in our third eye. And our experiences is the Pisces on the Vedic in the fourth house of home and family and our spiritual connection. The sunrise at 6:06 a.m. and setting at 6:13 p.m. The moon and Mercury will be in conjunction on this day at 1:56 a.m. The moon will be 1.2 degrees south. Minimal angle at 2:28 a.m. The moon will be 1.1 degrees south southeast. Having your third eye, your internal feminine energy and connection with your ability to invoke. So what you have experienced on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you'll be able to comfortably invoke a solution on Monday, a conclusion or whatever, what have you will. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would download. Monday, upload. You can catch the hunting dogs which are stars, the Canis Venatici stars, to the lower right of the Ursa Major, the Big Dipper, and it is said that those dog hunting stars actually chase the Big Bear in the cosmos. Asteroid 23 Thalia and the Leo constellation will be opposite the sun, and also at its highest point in the sky and at its best point of visibility. Mercury will be entering the Aries zodiac. So now we have our mind, new beginnings on our thoughts on invocation. Excuse me, I couldn't talk. But that's happening at 11:15 a.m. Now, March 12th, 4% waxing crescent moon, moon rising at 8:28 a.m. and setting at 10:14 p.m. Our mindset is on new beginnings at Aries. Our vortex is on that Piscean Olukun, Akashic Records, and now we're in the fifth house. So now we're tapped into our inner child and our creative energy with that Olukun and new beginnings. Sunrise at 6:06 a.m. and setting at 6:12 p.m. The moon is at 0 and on ascending node at 1:11 a.m. So now we have the moon moving further and further away from us. The PM visibility of the moon begins. Earth shine on the moon at the end of dusk. So now we have that full moon orb situation happening. The Venus enters Pisces zodiac at 11:20 a.m. So now we have our mindset on our heart chakra, on what we believe. Now that we've had this replenishment of downloads that may have created transformations to the things that you used to believe, the things that you were being manipulated under, maybe some rose-colored glasses and different types of events and situations you've been wearing. You've had the fire of the Aries burning anew, and so now you're pulsating on you know that new space. Also, your mindset be on attracting folks, different events and things on your Akashic records and what you think to be true of that area. March 13th, 10% waxing crescent moon, 8:56 a.m. rise, 11:31 p.m. set. Our mindset is on Taurus. So now our mind is on beauty and love and wealth and abundance, or self-esteem, value, prioritize materialism. Our vortex is on new beginnings, and the sixth house is, it can be dis-ease if you don't find balance between this earth and this fire, because fire is motivation, what it gets you going, also what can get you angry, also strategic space, which can be difficult here. So in this space, your challenge here is you do not want to be you don't want to have horse blinders on, because Taurus is fixed and Aries is cardinal. So this can put you in a space of arrogancy if you allow it. It can put you in a space of having horse blinders on. You're not really paying attention to different things that spirit is trying to pull you into. And then for some of you guys that are push and pulled easily, this utilizes energy to give you a sense of focus. You guys know where you are on the spectrum. Use these energies accordingly. If you do not, you get that sixth house of dis-ease and disailment and falling into the black hole of the Virgo. Virgo has black holes. Sunrise at 6:06 a.m. and setting at 6:12 p.m. Vesta is at the best evening visibility of the year, so you feel your passion self being on the forefront of the space. The moon and Jupiter have minimal angle at 12:43 a.m. The moon will be 3.4 degrees north-northwest. Conjunction at 1:45 a.m. The moon will be 3.5 degrees north. We'll be able to observe that at 8:53 p.m. with a 4.2 degree northwest separation. Now, we have our third eye in alignment with our sacral chakra. We know the moon is also said to rule over the sacral chakra, just as Jupiter is said to also rule over the third eye. So having the connection between the two is a divine alignment of the sacral chakra in your third eye. And finding downloads in spaces, expanding yourself from the oracle sage, and optimism and ways you can go about doing things. The moon, Jupiter, and Uranus will resemble an alignment that they had about 243 years ago when Uranus was discovered by William Herschel in Bath, England. Uranus will be 6 degrees east of the moon. So for those of you guys who want to go back 243 years ago, which was also the last time Pluto was in this divine alignment in Aquarius, do some history. Research about all the transformational happenings and progressive movements and expanded movements and spiritual happenings that happened 243 years ago. And that'll give you some insight, some Sankofa vibes for what's about to go down in the cosmos now. March 14th, 18% waxing crescent moon, moon rising at 9:28 a.m. and setting. There's no set time for setting. Now in our mindset, we're still in Taurus and that, heart chakra vibe of what we prioritize and what we wish to materialize. And our vortex is new beginnings in the sixth house still, sunrise at 6:05, sunset at 6:12. Mars in Deneb El Jeli will be at minimal angle at 4:28 p.m. Mars will be 1.5 degrees north northeast. Observe at 5:28 a.m. with a 1.5 degree north northwest separation. Moon and Uranus will be in conjunction. Now we feel that expansion to our third eye. 9:48 a.m. the moon will be 3.1 degrees north, minimal angle at 7:58 a.m. the moon will be 2.8 degrees north northwest. Observe at 6:58 p.m. with a 6.1 degree north northeast separation. The comet Pan Star C 2021, so we might see hella chemtrails because whenever we got a comet, because this comet will actually be the smallest distance to the Earth at 8:18 p.m. So having this comet so close to Earth, we definitely will be able to absorb some cosmic dust, some ancestral energy. The moon and Pleiades will also be in conjunction at 3:18 a.m. The moon will be 0.7 degrees south. Minimal angle at 3:23 a.m. The moon will be 0.7 degrees south. And occultation will take place between the moon and the star cluster, bringing our third eye in a divine alignment with how we deal with our wounds here as well. And then Ganymede, which is Jupiter's moon, will reappear from behind Jupiter around 10:09 p.m. Lo, which is also Jupiter's moon, begins to transit, which means it moves across Jupiter at 10:40 p.m. And then the Y Normid meteor shower will be peaking southeast from the Scorpius constellation. So that's what we have there to the 14th. Now on the 15th, 28% waxing crescent moon, moon rising at 10:05 a.m. and setting at 12:46 a.m. Our mindset is still on Taurus. Now our vortex is in alignment with Taurus in the seventh house. So seventh house is, spiritual space. Now we're dealing with the opus scales, finding a balance between our mind and our hearts, what's happening versus our thought process or our emotional connection. And allowing, those scales to do what it's going to do. Sunrise at 6:05 a.m. and setting at 6:12 p.m. The Mars and Deneb El Jeli will be in conjunction at 8:05 a.m. Mars will be 1.5 degrees north. Deneb El Jeli is a star in the Capricorn constellation. This gives off the energy of happiness, so feeling, joy, happiness, expansion in that space. And also, you should probably feel very energetic in your solar plexus chakra on the 15th as well. Gamma Normids, which is a meteor shower, reaches max activity. They move about 6 hours. The evening visibility of Libra constellation begins. The sun enters the Pisces constellation on this day at 11:32 a.m. So now we have the connection between Pisces on the thought process, which is tropical, and Pisces on the Vedic, which is our actual experiences of things. Psyche enters Aquarius zodiac. So now we have our mindset on revolutionary energy, our social constructs. And that happens at 11:30 a.m. March 16th, 38% waxing crescent moon, the moon rising at 10:50 a.m. and setting at 1:57 a.m. Our mindset is on Gemini. Now our mindset is on community, communication, teaching, and learning. The goal here is to focus. All right. Our experiences is on Taurus. So this is our heart chakra where our heart is, gravitating towards, still in the seventh house with this energy. Sunrise at 6:05 a.m. and setting at 6:11 p.m. The AM visibility of Saturn begins. The east side of the moon, which is Mercurium, is tipped into view at 10:48 a.m. Comet Atlas C 2019 E3 is in conjunction with the sun. So now we have that cosmic energy. A lot of you guys are going to be falling into some ancient energy exchanges, some ancient souls coming back around to you and your experiences with that comet crossing the sun at 3:12 p.m. Maybe some ancient thought processes, downloads, reoccurring emotions, etc. Around 3:12 p.m. on March 16th. The lunar occultation with El Nath, which is the Beta Tauri star, also happens on March 16th. And no, this will not be visible. Mars also enters the Aquarius constellation. So now our vortex of the happenings of our solar plexus chakra is now in alignment with our, who we wish to connect with. You start feeling more sociable, want to go out and attract who you're supposed to attract. And that happens around 11:33 a.m. March 17th, 50% first quarter moon rising at 11:43 a.m. and setting at 5:30 a.m. Gemini. is on our thought process with the moon. Gemini is also in our vortex. Now we're in the eighth house. We're standing in our power, on our vortex, on what we learned, what we found focus or lack of focus in, but we feel very confident in this. And we're ready to create transformations and rebirth and stand in our power with it. Sunrise at 6:04 a.m. and setting at 6:11 p.m. The first quarter moon rises at 4:11 a.m. The max declination of that moon during its cycle is at 2:34 p.m. Mercury is the smallest distance to the sun at 4:36 p.m., which is also called perihelion. So what we invoke is now going to come super, super close to our experiences by the 17th. So all the Mercurian moments and things like that leading up to this space, this is where you'll see some of the fruits of thy labor. The moon and Teja posterior will be in conjunction at 7:42 p.m. The moon will be 6.42 degrees north. Now, Teja posterior is located at the back foot of the Gemini constellation. It gives off the energy of Mercury and Venus. So we're dealing with force and energy of Venus and vocation as well. That brings in that force and energy. Also protection in this space and goodwill, invoking, sing stuff with your throat and your heart and all that fun stuff. We love it there. And then Europa, which is Jupiter's moon, begins to transit at 10:35 p.m. Now, March 18th, 60% waxing gibbous moon, moon rising at 12:42 p.m. and setting at 3:54 a.m. Now, our mindset is on Cancer. So now the moon is in its home space in Cancer. You know, we're getting all the downloads. We want to go into our nurturing spaces, home and family. Some of you guys are feeling maternal. Sometimes some of you guys want to go to your maternal spaces, your maternal communities, feminine communities, because what's happening in our vortex is still Gemini energy in the eighth house. Sunrise at 6:04 a.m., sunset at 6:11 p.m. Neptune and the sun. So now we're having, the portal between the physical and non-physical is big open on this day. We are on the 18th, so that's Mars and Scorpio energy there on the numbers. It brings you to 9, so giving birth. So that gateway between life and death is open heavily on the 18th between the numbers and the astronomical setup. Because we're having Piscean experiences. Piscean deals with the deep waters. Now we're dealing with the waters of the womb. And then the sun. So we're having those womb experiences, Akashic record experiences. That conjunction occurs at 12:36 a.m. The Neptune will be 1.3 degrees south. Neptune will also be the furthest distance to Earth at that time too, as you know, Earth is always opposite the sun, and that happens at 7:55 a.m. The south pole of the moon is tipped into view at 4:10 p.m. and the moon in Castor, which is the star and the Gemini constellation, this deals with the mortal which deals with honor and learning and awakening. That minimal angle occurs at 11:09 p.m. with the moon being 4.9 degrees southwest, and that is a good time. So now we're in the last decan of March. Thank you guys. We're making it. We're getting there. We're almost done. March 19th, 69% waxing gibbous moon rising at 1:45 p.m. and setting at 4:38 a.m. Our mindset is on Cancer, still on that home and family, feminine energy. Our vortex is on Gemini, our community, communication, living and learning. And the eighth house of transformation is standing on our power, as well as secrets coming out around that time too. So if some of y'all got some skeletons in that familial closet, trust believe they finna come out. The sunrise at 6:04 a.m. and setting at 6:10 p.m. The moon in Castor is in conjunction at 3:34 a.m. and setting at 5.2 degrees south. Again, that moon will be in conjunction at minimal angle with Castor and Pollux. On this day, which are the Gemini twins. Venus is the largest distance to the sun at 9:48 p.m., which is called aphelion, which puts Venus, more in a more of a wanting position. The first day of spring is also on the 19th at 11:06 p.m., which is also when I'll be releasing my next music EP. Shouts to Sparks for helping me with this album. He produced the album, he created the beats, and he'll be helping me engineer this album. I'm very excited about it. But Virgo Sunshine will be released on the first day of spring at 11:06 p.m. And you can catch me on Do the Knowledge Radio releasing that joint, and I'll be having a little festivities and stuff. But this is the earliest that the first day of spring has occurred in 128 years, y'all, because usually the first day of spring is on March 20th, but now it's on March 19th. So, yay. Um, yep. And then also karma is entering the Aries constellation. So all this time we had karma in the Aries zodiac, bringing karmic energy to our thoughts. So now karmic energy is starting to happen to our vortex. So whatever energy you've been putting in, you're definitely getting out. Some of you guys are getting new slates. Some of you guys are getting flowing with new strategies and knowledge and mindset that you deserve for the energy you put out. That's why I'm saying it's so important for you guys to not, I know you want to be everything to yourself, but you're not supposed to be everything to yourself. Just like someone can't come into your life and be everything to you. It's a collective. Learn how to have community love so you won't be so engulfed into having amore love or romantic love so much. Community love is just as essential. Universal love is also just as essential. Okay. Spread thyself. March 20th is at 77% waxing gibbous moon rising at 2:48 p.m. and setting at 5:14 a.m. Our mindset is on Leo. So now we're moving on our riches and our creative self, our inner child. We're walking to these spaces like children in the meadow. We love it here. And our vortex, what we're attracting is nurturing spaces. So the universe is going to protect us and empower us with that eighth house energy that this moon is in while we go into our childlike creative self. So trust the universe. All right. Sunrise at 6:04 a.m. and setting at 6:10. The moon in Persepi will be at minimum angle at 9:09 a.m. The moon will be 3.4 degrees north. Conjunction at 8:15 a.m. with the moon being 3.4 degrees north. Observe at 2:19 a.m. with a 5.9 northwest separation. The spring equinox at 3:07 a.m. The sun crosses the celestial equator, and then day and night has the same length on this day. So, the first day of spring happens the day before the actual spring equinox because we have the tropical and Vedic separation. March 21st, 85% waxing gibbous moon rising at 3:51 p.m. and then setting at 5:42 a.m. Mindset on Leo, vortex on Cancer, giving us that nurturing energy we need. Mother and father, divine connection. But now we're in the ninth house. So now we're in that space of tapping into our optimism, our generosity, finding joy in this space now. Sunrise at 6:03 a.m. and setting at 6:10 p.m. AM visibility of the moon begins. Evening visibility of the comet 12P Pons Brooks is near the Pisces constellation. So it's giving us that cosmic energy and our Olukun. The sun is entering Aries zodiac on this day. So now we have aligned our mindset into the new beginnings. Which is cool because like our moon is in fire and our sun is in fire at the same time. And so that's pretty cool. And then the Vedic scale, the moon is in water and the sun is in water. So find a divine alignment between that fire and water connection between the sun and moon that day, especially as we re-enter into eclipse season. Yay, y'all. Okay, so March 22nd, 91% waxing gibbous moon, the moon rising at 4:52 p.m. and setting at 6:07 a.m. Our mindset is on Leo. Our vortex is now on Leo as well. So inner child through and through, we're finding joy. We're experiencing our experiences with the curiosity and wanderlust. And we're expanding ourselves because this energy is in the ninth house. So we feel joy here. Sunrise at 6:03 a.m., setting at 6:09 p.m. Venus and Saturn are in conjunction at 1:53 a.m. So this brings challenges to the heart chakra. So if you want to feel joy, if you're setting yourself out to do this is the equal opposite energy. But remember, we're going to experience these challenges with joy, with optimism, with generosity, expansion, and trust, right? And that's what we want to pulsate through our Venusian spaces. This conjunction happens at 1:53 a.m. Venus will be 0.3 degrees north, minimal angle at 11:11 p.m. Venus will be 0.3 degrees north northwest, and we'll be able to observe that at 5:21 a.m. with a 0.4 north northeast separation. The moon in Regulus. Now we have our third eye in alignment with that star in the Leo constellation of riches and royalty, being one of the four horsemen stars. Minimal angle at 7:59 a.m. The moon will be 3 degrees north northeast, conjunction at 6:24 a.m. with the moon being 3.2 degrees north. Observe at 3:39 a.m. with a 4.1 north northwest separation. The Gamma Normids, which is a meteor shower, reached the inactivity and they came from the Norma constellation. Mercury is at dichotomy, so that means that Mercury is like half, lit half phase at 9:48 p.m. Now, March 23rd, 96% waxing gibbous moon rising at 5:52 p.m. and setting at 6:28 a.m. Now our mindset is on Virgo, organizing, planning, managing our health, you know, analyzing, cleaning, earthly vibes. Herbs are good on this day, as our vortex is on Leo in the ninth house. It's still in that inner child and expanding in that realm of things, but now we're finding the a groundedness to that energy, right? We're coming to a focal point. Sunrise at 6:03 a.m. and setting at 6:09 p.m. AM visibility at Atlas 2019 E3 is the Lacerda constellation. And that is the comet that we'll experience with that Virgo Leo moon. The moon will also be the furthest distance to the Earth, which is Apogee. The moon occults the star Sigma Leo. So we have an occultation or a sense of an eclipse with a star and the Leo constellation happening. And then Mars, which is our gut, is entering the tropical Pisces zodiac at 12:03 p.m. So now we have our motivation moving towards what we believe in, where our Mayat has come to be at throughout these different experiences and energy exchanges and moments of awareness of depth of being and awareness with our unity with others from that Aquarian zodiac connection. March 24th. Now we're at 99% waxing gibbous moon. Moon rising at 9:52 and setting at 6:47. Our mindset is on Virgo. Our vortex is still on that inner child of Leo. Now we're in the 10th house. So organizing this inner child for our organization with this creativity and emotional space of self and your romantic space of self will bring you much success. 6:02 a.m. sunrise, 6:09 p.m. sunset. Mercury has the longest angular distance to the sun. It's at a 19-degree east-northeast angle. Observe at 6:30 p.m. in the west with a 10-degree elevation. So it'll be very close to the horizon. But it does have, that obtuse angle towards the sun and in between us. The comet 62P is an opposition of the Earth. So, it'll be on the spotlight for us. So a lot of comet energy this month, a lot of celestial, ancestral beginning of our universe's time knowledge coming to us. So you'll see a lot of people that are tapped into astrology and astronomy come through with the answers to where we have come from astronomically, cosmognically. I'm trying to pronounce these words. March 25th is a 100% full moon. Moon rising at 7:51 p.m. and setting at 7:06 a.m. We start the day off with that Libra on our mindset. And then our vortex is Virgo in the 10th house. So now our mindset is on balance and justice. And you know what's wild? My court date is actually on March 25th. I've been, going back and forth, fighting for my right to continue to homeschool my son. His father doesn't want me to homeschool. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to declare on this day that this full moon that just so happens to happen on my court date and this Libra tropical energy on my mindset of balancing the scales and on this vortex of Virgo in the 10th house is for me. And hopefully it's for you in some type of way, shape, or form. The sunrise at 6:02 a.m. and sets at 6:09 p.m. The full moon rises at 7:01 a.m. This is when the earth is between the moon and the sun. This is also called the worm moon, which is a divine alignment because my nickname from my father is Worm, because I used to have temper tantrums when I was a kid and I used to squirm around on a floor like a worm. So another reason why I feel like this moon is for me. This is also the paschal moon. So this is the moon before Easter Sunday that opens that up. Also, this is the prenumbral lunar eclipse. So not only do we experience this full moon in Virgo and Libra, a balance in the scales of our heart and our mind as Virgo rules over the, how we learn our intellectual mindfulness, and Libra rules over the vibration, our heart chakra. We also have an eclipse between the sun and the earth. So the prenumbral lunar eclipse happens at 7:13 a.m. And this is when the moon crosses the penumbra or the shadow of earth. Okay. And then the crux constellation is opposite the sun at 2:37 p.m. This is the crucifix constellation, and this is the best visibility. So this is like so cool because it's the partial full moon that opens up, Easter Sunday, you know. So this is a beautiful space of death and new beginnings here. The moon of Parima is the star of prophecy and the Virgo constellation. This is they're in conjunction. So a lot of downloads happening on this day as well. At 5:14 p.m., this conjunction occurs. The moon will be 2.1 degrees south, minimal angle at 3:55 p.m., with the moon being 1.9 degrees south southwest. And we'll be able to observe that at 6:55 p.m. with a 2.7 degrees south southeast separation. March 26th is a 99% wine and gibbous moon. Now we're in the moon of cleansing. The moon rising at 8:52 p.m. and setting at 7:26 a.m. We are in Libra, with our mindset in Virgo in the 10th house in our vortex still. Sun rising at 6:02 a.m. and setting at 6:08 p.m. The moon is now on descending node and coming closer to us at 4:11 a.m. The moon is Spica, so now we're in the space of harvesting. Is They are in conjunction at 5:45 p.m. The moon will be 1.9 degrees north, minimal angle at 7:47 p.m. with the moon being 1.7 degrees northeast, and it will be observable at those respective times. So then March 27th, we are in the 97% Wannagebis moon, still in the moon of cleansing. The moon rising at 9:54 p.m. and setting at 7:47 a.m. Our mindset is on Libra and our vortex is on Libra. So now we're ultimately like really balancing our heart chakra in the space, our interpersonal relationships, bonds, contracts, things of that nature. Very exciting here. We are in a space of law and justice. And please remember, as you are balancing scales with interpersonal relationships, the goal is to keep your mayat in order as well. Heart light as a feather. We're not here to project and reflect dustiness. And we're applying this to fourth house, our home and family, our spiritual and emotional connections. Sunrise at 6:01 a.m. and setting at 6:08 p.m. The A Crux constellation will be, or the A Crux is a star in the Crux constellation, which will be opposite the sun at 10 a.m. And this is the best visibility of the year. March 28th is a 92% wine and gibbous moon, still in the moon of cleansing. Moon rising at 10:59 p.m. and setting at 8:11 a.m. Mindset on Scorpius constellation. So now our mindset and our spirituality is on empowerment, enforcement of that mayat, sitting on your throne. Also transformation, death, and rebirth. We can feel a portal open here between the physical and non-physical as well with that Libra and Scorpio. Our mindset on Scorpio, our vortex on Libra, balancing the scales of Scorpius, which deals with the life and death, transformation, death, and rebirth, marketplace, highs and lows. And this is an 11th house, so it deals with our social awareness. Social connections. Sunrise at 6:01 a.m. and setting at 6:08 p.m. The moon in Zubin El Janubi will be in conjunction at 3:55 p.m. Moon will be 2.7 degrees south. Minimal angle separation at 2:53 p.m. with the moon being 2.6 degrees south southwest. We'll be able to observe that at 8:53 p.m. with a 4.9 degrees southeast separation. Zubin El Janubi is the star in the Libra constellation. It's a southern scale. It deals with hindering journeys and redemption. Saturn and Mars is the energy of the star, so it gives you like it's a day of resistance, but the resistance is there to give you resilience and strength. With that resilience, Jupiter enters the draconic Taurus on this day. So happy soul return to my Jupiter and Taurus natives out there. Now your soul experience will be experiencing that optimism, generosity, and expansion in the Taurus, and that is what we'll experience on a collective scale as well for those of you guys that are really in tune with your draconic experience and re-experiencing your Akashic records, your Olukun, stepping in your soul's experience. Now your wealth from the higher ups is coming down. March 29th, we're at an 86% wine and gibbous moon. No set time for rising, but setting at 8:40 a.m. Our mindset on transformations and standing in our power and enforcing that mayat with Scorpio. Our vortex is still on Libra and balancing the scales on our interpersonal relationship and how we experience so balanced scales will let us know how empowered we are in a Scorpius as well. How confident are you? How courageous are you to speak up to make sure these scales are balanced, right? And in these spaces now you're being introduced to the 12th house, which is your Akashic records and the different bonds you have, whether they're events, social contracts, business contracts, relationship contracts, whatever you have in alignment with your Akashic records. Now we're checking your confidence and speaking balance in these spaces. Sunrise at 6:01 a.m., setting at 6:08 p.m. Oh, no. Yeah, 6:07 p.m. The moon in Graphius is at minimal angle at 9:55 p.m. The moon will be 4.8 degrees south southwest. The moon in Dashuba will also be a minimal angle at 10:12 p.m. The moon will be 1.8 degrees south southwest. And both times this will be visible. Now, this is the energy of Mars and Saturn giving you that restriction or, friction that you need to help you create the resilience, your power. Oh, yeah, 231. Hey, gang. March 29th is a good day. 29 equals 11. Mastery. Master that day. March 30th, 78% wine and gibbous moon rising at 12:05 a.m. and setting at 9:16 a.m. Mindset on Sagittarius, so now our mindset is on that expansion, and our vortex is on transformations as in the 12th house. Sunrise at 6:01 a.m., sunset at 6:07 p.m. The moon of Dashuba will be in conjunction at 12:07 a.m. with the moon being 2 degrees south. The moon of Graphius are in conjunction at 4:05 a.m. with the moon being 5.5 degrees south. Now we're moving into the Saturn and Jupiter energy after we get out of that Saturn and Mars. Not Saturn and Mars to Jupiter and Mars. So we're moving the Saturn of challenges and bringing in the Jupiter of optimism, but still in alignment with the strategies and the fire of Mars, with that moon in Aries being in conjunction at 2:52 p.m. and the moon being at 0.6 degrees north, minimal angle at 2:47 p.m. with the moon being at 0.6 degrees north. And we'll be able to observe that at 10:27 p.m. with a 5.1 degree east separation. And then Lo, which is Jupiter's moon, completes transit and disappears Midwest at 10:22 p.m. So that moon disappears. The shadow will disappear 48 minutes later. So Lo will be back behind Jupiter from where we're standing. And then Maki, which is the asteroid that rules over our experiences with nature, in alignment with nature, that will reach opposition and the highest point of the sky, which is at midheaven and Coma Berenice's constellation around midnight. Karma will be entering the Taurus zodiac. So now our mindset is on us receiving the wealth, the riches, the love, the compassion, the prioritizing and stuff that we put out. So this is very, very important that you care about yourself. Your self-esteem, your self-value, and your self-prioritization is high because you will receive that back in your mindset. And mindset is key here because eventually what's going to happen is the vortex is going to line up. But that happens at 11:22 a.m., which are two master numbers, right? Then we go into last but not least, Easter Sunday, March 31st. And we're at a 69% wine and gibbous moon. Still in that moon of Clinton. Moon rising at 1:11 a.m. and setting at 10:01 a.m. I love those numbers. Our mindset is on the generosity, the expansion of Sagittarius. Our vortex is on the transformations and the empowerment of Scorpio. And both of these are sitting in our first house in our temperament. Sunrise at 6 a.m., setting at 6:07 p.m. Parima is opposite the sun. This is the star prophecy. Happens at 1:34 a.m. This is the best visibility of the year. Prophecies is happening in our experiences. You'll be experiencing your prophecies. The west side of the moon crater Grimaldi is tipped into view at 10:48 p.m. Uranus and Jupiter. These are two very expanded planets. They'll be 3.5 degrees apart. They'll be very close to one another. Uranus will be 2 degrees south of Delta Ariatis, aka Botine, which is the star in the Aries constellation, and then 9.5 degrees south of Pleiades. So Uranus has that nice straddle between Aries and Taurus energy. A nice triangle there, new beginnings on how we, heal our wounds in an expansive way. And we will be pushed to do so if you decide to be your own restrictions in that space. But find joy as you're being pushed to do so because Jupiter is there to assist. And allow those 4 placements, those 2 stars and those 2 planets to create a foundation, a cornerstone for you. Now, of course, we get more celestial comet dust. Comet 12P Pons Brooks will be 1 degree of Hamal, which is the brightest star in Aries. New beginnings to some of that celestial energy. You guys hear me talk all the time about how we are the new beings. We are the Anus. We're here to create a new. Yeah, we had the Sankofa vibe of bringing past knowledge into future selves, present self. However, we're here to do stuff that's never been done before in addition to that. We're not here to completely reiterate what has been done. We're here to do it new, new. Venus, Saturn, and Mars are all lined up on the ecliptic on this day, 45 minutes right before sunrise. These three planets line up. And then Venus rises 15 minutes after. So you have the V. So first is Saturn and Mars, and then Venus comes up. And this is the first Sunday after the full moon. So it's considered as Easter and springtime. And so that is the divine alignment. We're coming to the March equinox. And this is all about, I know you guys have probably noticed this little stingray looking shape up in the sky. And that is the hexagon that we are experiencing between Calyx, the Gemini twins. Ooh, I didn't mean to go. But the Gemini twins, and then our Sagittarius and Orion and Canis Major and our hunting dogs. And then, Nebula has been looking pretty lightly below. And then Betelgeuse over here has been looking really light. If you can catch Betelgeuse, you can slowly see like all the other constellations around and about. But I know Orion's belt has been very easy to find. Super moon is when the moon is super close. I believe the full moon that we receive be somewhat of a micro moon this month. The moon and Jupiter that we'll be seeing this month. I always love it when the moon and Jupiter are clear nearby. And then this is the pathway of the moons that you guys will be able to visualize and see for my sky watchers or my sky, visualizers. And this is the morning sky, evening sky on the 14th for us. When you want to see that Norma meteor shower, the Y Normits. And then the divine connection that we have between Mars, Venus, and Saturn on the 21st over our ecliptic. Uranus and Jupiter being close by and straddling between the stars of Hamal and Aries and Pleiades and Taurus. Jupiter and Mercury being in alignment around this time too. So invocation is easy in this space. If you want to invoke happiness, joy, and expansion, you can. This, is our moon phases and different, major things during this month, some highlights. And so I'm going to go over some highlights. I like highlights. We like highlights. So highlighting Mercury retrograde is on April 2nd at 1:04 a.m. Pallas retrograde is April 3rd at 11:42 p.m. Pluto retrograde is May 3rd. The total solar eclipse is April 4th. The summer solstice is June 20th. The last quarter moon is April 24th. Oh, Mercury goes prograde on April 24th. So that first retrograde is from April 2nd to April 24th. Okay. Venus, Neptune, Moon, and Pluto will also be at minimal angle in conjunction when Pallas goes retrograde on April 3rd. The Sun enters Aries zodiac on March 21st at 11:59 a.m. Pisces constellation on March 15th at 11:32 a.m. and Draconic Pisces on March 8th at 11 a.m. Mercury enters Aries zodiac on March 11th at 11:15 a.m. Pisces constellation on March 8th at 11 a.m. and Draconic Pisces on March 4th at 10:40 a.m. Venus enters Pisces zodiac at March 12th at 11:20 a.m., Aquarius constellation March 8th at 11 a.m., and Draconic Aquarius on March 2nd at 10:40 a.m. Mars enters Pisces zodiac on March 23rd at 12:03 p.m. Aquarius constellation at 3:16. Oh, Aquarius constellation on 3:16 at 11:33 a.m. and Draconic Aquarius on March 7th at 10:55 a.m. Eros enters Taurus zodiac March 6th at 10:50 a.m. and Taurus constellation on April 4th at 12:40 p.m. Psyche enters Aquarius zodiac March 15th at 11:38 a.m. Karma enters Taurus zodiac March 30th, 11:22 a.m. and Aries constellation 11:45 a.m. on March 19th. Vesta enters Gemini constellation March 7th at 10:55 a.m. Jupiter enters Draconic Taurus on March 28th at 12:20 p.m. Lilith enters Draconic Virgo March 8th at 11 a.m. Chiron enters Draconic Aries March 6th at 10:50 a.m. Ramadan begins March 10th. The March equinox is March 19th at 11:06 a.m. That will also be the release of my album. Gang gang. Um And then we'll have another super new moon and lunar eclipse on March 8th. On April 8th. The Lyrids meteor shower is April 21st to 22nd. Don't forget the prenumbral lunar eclipse is March 24th. The ETA Aquarius are March 5th to 6th. And it's mad exciting. We're walking into an eclipse season. The moon just got done giving us all these conjunctions and minimal angles between, you know, February and March being conjunction and a minimal angle with all the planets, the personal and interpersonal planets, and now it's bringing it to our sun. So think about it like that. The moon has met all of our chakras, all of our body parts, and now it's bringing it to our experience the next couple months. And then we get a moment to slow down during the retrograde season to really absorb it all. And we give thanks for, lining up that way for us, right? This is how Venus is showing to us in the sky up until 2025. But we're just going to keep going across, and we're wanting until we're in half phase. This is the path of the eclipse that we're going to be experiencing on April 8th. Just giving you guys a little pregame situation. I know Arkansas is like the best place to view it. Oh my God, cross my fingers. Please let me somehow, some way end up in Arkansas for the eclipse. Thank you. And at some point in time, I am going to go live and I'm going to go heavy into this. That's probably not today because it's like almost 3 a.m. and it's time for me to take it down because my eyes are starting to cross, my throat is dry, and I'm just ready to take it down. But these are the things that I'm going to get into with you about the different cycles that we're about to experience or that we're in the midst of experience, because some of these planets are in the middle of their cycle. And some of these are just beginning their cycle, and some of them are just ending their cycle on the tropical and Vedic chart. And so, yeah, and then we're going to see how many days we're going to spend in each, zodiac. And it's a fun time. And I'm definitely going to get into all these things with you. And so that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you for tapping into today's planetary forecast. Thank you for sticking with me so late in the evening. Thank you to everybody on TikTok that shared and joined and stuff. I really love being live on TikTok. You guys are stroking my ego tremendously. Thank you to everybody that tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, what is it called? Twitter. I was about to say X, but I didn't want to say that because it sounds really lame. But thank you guys for tapping in from all the different ways that you have been. I hope you guys had enlightenment. Remember to tap into my daily mathematics as I will be repeating some of these things, some of these astrological happenings. Catch me during my Sunday service, Virgo Virgin Talk, Seas of Sun podcast on New List Energy. I'm on a whole bunch of podcasts this month. I'm just, walking in my passion as Vesta goes prograde and re-enters my natal passion space, walking in my truth and aligning with it in my vortex. And may you align with your vortex and align with your mindset and align with your chakras and your emotional and spiritual well-being. And that's what I got for you today. I love you. Please share this video. Please like. Please tap back in when you need a refresher. And we love it here. Peace, peace, y'all.